Hello, everybody, and welcome to the League of Nations, the first ever episode. And joining me today on my panel of nations, first from Australia, the furthest away, we have Lethal Lightning. Lethal, how is it going, bruv?
On Odin, and it's great to meet these other two lovely ladies.
Perfect, perfect. Sorry, I just turned your audio on, and I realized that I needed to do the desktop audio because that's the mistake that I always made, but welcome. But what he said was he's representing the entire Southern Hemisphere, and I think that even Mr. Peabody would say that even all the way in Western Australia, he's representing him as well. Also joining me from the wonderful, the beautiful, the Emerald Island, my sister, Julie from Ireland. Julie, how are you, my sister?
Hello. I'm doing really well. My brother, I'm doing really well. How's the parents?
Oh, they're doing fine. Oh, they're doing just fine. Yes, they're getting ready for church this morning. That's what they're doing.
Oh, Garden, top of the morning to them.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
I'm so glad
What's going on? What's the crack with you?
You see, you
many
know
stereotypes.
I know. You know that she's my sister when she can put up with my typical American poor attempt at an Irish accent.
No, it's actually very good. It's
actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
I
to hear
agree.
that. I'm glad to hear that.
It's pretty good.
And also joining me this morning is indeed from America by way of Brazil is Hey Viv. Viv, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Good morning for some of you.
Yes, indeed. So it's early morning for some people. It's 8 p.m. according to Gannison, who's in Malaysia. So we got people from all over the world watching, which is perfect because this is indeed the League of Nations. So the idea behind the League of Nations is to be able to give us an opportunity to hear perspectives on various topics from across the world, literally halfway across the world with Australia and all the parts in between with everywhere else. And so I think that it's interesting that we're going to have different perspectives. We're going to have the same perspectives. And I think either way, it's going to be interesting because of the fact that we all are born and raised in different places, different time zones. For some of us, it's night. For some of us, it's day. And for some of us, it's way too early. But the first topic of the day. And hello, everyone, to the chat. I see everyone's in the chat. And for all the people that are here, thank you for joining us. And if it is indeed American time for you, let alone if you're somehow in Pacific time and you're up at 5 in the morning, God save you and God love you. But first topic of the day is going to be about Article 13. So for those that don't know, Article 13 is an EU proposition that recently passed. It's going to take a little while before it's actually implemented because from the basic terms of the proposition, every country in the EU is going to basically have to implement it in their own unique way, and so it's going to take a little while to roll out. And so since we're talking about Article 13 first, I guess we can start off with someone who's actually living in the EU right now, in Julie. So Julie, do you know much about Article 13? And if you do, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, from what I heard, this vote actually only took around 20 seconds to be made. But some people in some countries, when they were making the vote, they didn't actually thoroughly know the whole extent of what they were voting for. It seems a bit odd. But it seems to be that it's going to be pretty much around all of social media. So, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything pretty much that's social media. And even if you put, like a meme or a GIF or some sort of links or anything, that's probably most likely going to get a copyright strike, which isn't going to be good for content creators. But what kind of really worries me is, I don't know if any of you have watched Tyrone Magnus. He does like a lot of movie reviews and stuff. Now he does live in America, but what scared me is I watched his video just before we came live, and he said that already so many people's videos are being deleted, even in America, copyright strikes all over the place, and he's deleting a ton of his videos. So I don't know. The problem is, though, we don't actually know when it's going to take motion, but it seems as though from what some people are saying, it's already taken motion. But apparently it could take 1 to 2 years for it to go into full effect for all forms of social media. So it's not good news for us, pretty much. For YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you know, when it comes to, and I think that with the copyright strikes, I think that's just kind of the fad of the day, because I mean, you just had the other day, last week, Nerdrotic's channel got hit with a copyright strike, and then it turned out to actually be an error, because I found out from him last night that if you get a copyright claim, because it wasn't even a strike, no, it was a strike, but if you get a copyright strike, if it's your first one, you're not supposed to lose live streaming access, and so basically he got 3 months of being banned from live streaming on his channel, and it was a mistake. It was something that should not have happened. It was something that should not have been the actual penalty of what he was supposed to be being given. So it's sad, because this, to me, you know, based especially on what you've been saying, is really bad, because you're already living in a world where YouTube is broken and where any person from anywhere can claim something, and the immediate reaction is, up, you're banned, up, the video's down, up, it's demonetized. And there really is no process. You know, you can appeal, but then, good luck trying to get that appeal process going. And I know that Lethal can talk a little bit about that, because he had I saw that you were mentioning on Twitter recently that you had to make an appeal claim with YouTube. So I guess we can move to you as well with talking about that, and also about your thoughts on Article 13.
That was actually for my friend. I was trying to help my friend get his tweet noticed a little bit by YouTube, because they're so prompt and hastily with their replies. In fact, they've left me hanging for 72 hours at the moment. But this was with my friend Branster. He got a 3-month ban from live streaming because on his stream he was listening to someone else's stream to react to it, because there was one funny part on there. And then as soon as that happened, YouTube killed his stream like that, and then hit him with the strike and said, you can't stream for 3 months. So hopefully soon he'll be able to come back on. And he never got an official response from him. No matter what he did, he jumped through all the hoops. Never got anything. They just left him hanging there. And
that's so messed up.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is messed up. YouTube is horrible for replying to people. I tweeted at them saying, yo, I got my 1K subs. Give me my community tab, please. It's been over 2 weeks and you still haven't given it to me. What's the go there? Just nothing. Haven't heard shit.
Yeah, and that's
they replied to me once. They said, "Can you send a link to? Can you type out your, send an email here?" And I did that, and that was that. Nothing. It just hit a brick wall and stopped.
Yeah.
Mine came late as well. My community tab came late, but I didn't contact them. But I had to wait till I got like over 1,200, which was weird.
So weird, because I thought the community tab was always there, but I think that YouTube has always been very flawed when it comes to distincting what is fair use and what is actually something that should be considered. Yes, this content, or it's owned by somebody else, and I mean YouTube is just a platform and they don't want to get involved, so I understand. So they allow all these companies to claim stuff. So it already has been a broken system for a while now, I believe. And now with this whole Article 13, it just makes things even worse. I did see Tyrone's video, and I believe that what he was doing, he was deleting his own videos because he was getting claimed. So that means he could monetize the videos. And because he couldn't monetize, he just said, I'm not giving money to these companies, which it happens a lot if you do reactions. Like, I'm pretty sure if you guys do any sort of reactions, Lionsgate, for instance, is very aggressive at, for some reason, my John Wick reaction is still have not been claimed. I was like, that's weird. And Warner Bros is also very aggressive. So there's some companies that will like just copyright you right away, even though you're doing them a service, because you're pretty much promoting that stuff and they don't understand it. I mean, Disney is actually good at not giving you copyright. I never had a problem with Disney, like any of the Avengers or any like the Aladdins, all those things, I never got a claim. But companies like Warner Bros, every single Shazam, Aquaman stuff. So it's, I mean, I don't understand why, because sometimes, to me, this is free promotion, and I like it. And obviously, they're collecting pennies from us YouTubers, and YouTube has not been very good at being able to be there and actually sort it out. Because, like I said, they're just a platform, and the less involved they are with this stuff, we could say they won't be liable, I guess.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we've gathered too, is that, and this is the reason why so many people in the UK and in all of Europe were kind of just so worried about Article 13, is not necessarily, obviously the ramifications of what they were trying to do are going to be felt, but also the fact that YouTube said that if Article 13 passes, there is a very good chance they'll just pull out of Europe altogether. And the reason why is not only because you have the the chance of more content creators getting more copyright strikes and copyright violations, but also it'll make YouTube responsible. It'll make YouTube liable, meaning that lawsuits will be directed towards them and not necessarily the content creators themselves. And so YouTube would say, oh, well, that's not worth our time and not worth our hassle, so we'll go ahead and pull out.
Right.
And obviously for all the people that are in the UK, that sucks because many people stream in the UK, are based in the UK. I mean, one of the biggest channels, I'm pretty sure he's still based in the UK, PewDiePie. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still living.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's in Brighton.
Yeah.
In England.
So, I mean, if they pulled out and they had their $91 million subscribed channel, their #1 channel, be affected by it, good God, exactly. YouTube would crash and burn. So actually, to be honest, I think the only thing that might be keeping them there in Europe might actually be PewDiePie. Because,
that could actually help, I
mean, because if they lose that, I mean, if you're going to try and tell me that they don't make a crap ton of money off of PewDiePie's channel and that not having him would, like, potentially destroy them, I think that they would probably be lying.
But don't you think that also the fact that for us that are in other countries, the viewers will be affected? Because I was reading something about it, and it's like a lot of videos might be blocked in Europe, for instance. That means like if you have like a lot of my viewers are from Europe as well, so that means that a lot of content that I'm creating will probably not be will be blocked in other countries. So that it's something that might be another effect for us as well, that even though we're not in Europe. But did you hear anything about that? Am I right?
Yeah, I heard that. Pretty much what's going to happen is if, say, for example, someone in America, like say Viv, posts something and say she's just talking about Alita Battle Angel, for goodness sake, and she puts up like a meme of Alita and she's not meaning anything by it, she's just using it to talk about Alita, it might mean that I might not be able to watch that video, but that's ridiculous, because then how am I supposed to support Vivian or support the rest of you? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's already we've been talking about this already, is that it's already hard enough to do even just a reaction video. And what's interesting about what you mentioned about with the trailers and people claiming them, the only trailer reactions I've ever done were claimed within like 2 seconds. And that's why I don't do them anymore, because I was just like,
I've never had any claims.
It's like, I don't want to risk getting a strike or anything.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with all of it, though, is that it's fair use, because it is literally the promotional material. It's the promotional material. That's why you see the bigger channels, they only use in their reviews stuff from the trailers, because that's stuff that they can use. Because whenever they do like press packets, and this is something that I learned from working, because I lived in LA for about maybe 9 months, and I worked for a very small, very, very, very small production company. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to do something for a show called Sister Rose on the movies. Sister Rose Goes to the Movies. And so it was like a religious sister. It was a Catholic religious sister who talked about movies. And she actually had a very large following. But one of the things that we did was that we cut in, or had to cut in, footage from the movies. And so basically we had to go to their official websites, and they were press packets. They were press release stuff that therefore could be used in articles, could be used in videos, etc. And that was the only stuff that we could use. And there's a lot of stuff that's released that you can use in there. But what's amazing to me is that on YouTube, for example, and for some reason, you see that when someone, just a regular YouTuber, decides, hey, I'm going to do a reaction to this video, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to claim it. And it's like, but you're already, you're promoting it. We're promoting the film. Like, you're already getting the promotion.
Yeah, it's so confusing. I know that when they claim it, for the most part, it just says it's a claim, so it's not a strike. So I never really had any problems, but I do have a bunch of claims. And I think one of the claims, which is this is the first time I got this sort of claim, it's actually sharing the monetization, which I thought I wouldn't mind if that was the case, because it is my work as well as I'm using your content. So sharing the monetization is even better, but most of the time they just claim the entire video, even though it's kind of just taking, like, it's kind of ignoring my effort as a creator to even be reactive, even if it's a negative reaction, for instance. like
Yeah.
there's no such thing as bad press. That's one of the things I learned in working in journalism, for instance. There's no such thing as bad press, which is not true. I think there is.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Even
Absolutely.
even if you're doing a negative reaction, you're still reacting, you're still bringing attention to it, and you still might even bring people to, oh, it doesn't look very good, but now I'm curious about it, and I don't understand why companies can't get behind it, taking the fact that this is not even like, it's not their main source of money, this is pennies to them. But do you know if there's anything about fair use within the Article 13? Or they not even mention it? Because I mean, where do we draw the line now? Like,
Basically,
is there such thing as fair use now?
Yeah. So and that's
the sun just came out.
It just shows you how early it is for us here in America. As I'm sure any American viewers are like, yeah, Odin, we know how early it is. And it was so funny because when I put the event up, I had one person come into the chat and they were like, wait, does that really say 17 hours from now? And I'm like, yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Get ready.
Someone said they were going to set their alarm.
All of you guys that are here watching.
But basically, yeah, so when it comes to fair use, and this is the reason why it concerns me more so than anything else, is because the EU, being essentially a, not, exactly international, like not the entire world, but a multinational conglomeration or government or whatever it is you want to call it, it scares me that there's a group that big that can make decisions for essentially the entirety of various countries without the people of those countries actually having a voice in the matter. Now, some people could say, oh, but it's the people representing them. But when you have the people representing them from one country literally hitting the wrong button, that was something that was told to me about, was it Sweden or Switzerland? One of the two. So apparently,
I heard that too.
During the vote, and this is real, you can look it up for yourself. During the vote, they were gonna vote no, and they voted yes. They hit the wrong button, but the vote still counted. So basically, I looked at this and I'm like, this is the reason why I don't like giant government collaborations, because all it takes is a giant mistake, or all it takes is the will of this giant government to say, this is what we want to do, and you can't do anything about it, to implement it on people. And so I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what they're doing here, because it does affect fair use, because, as I said, now it gives more, it's all about protecting the people who hold the rights, essentially. And, you look at that and you say, okay, well, that, should be a good thing, that anyone that has a right to a certain image or a right to a certain product should be able to have the rights to it, and those rights should be protected, and that anyone that tries to, abuse that should, be, affected in some way. The problem with it, though, is that with fair use, and the way that fair use is implemented, is that it's not something that is an international law that's going to be affected and used in the same way. And now this changes fair use for the EU, essentially, making it a lot easier for claims to be made, but also it puts more responsibility on the people who use that material, and also on any hosting services that host them. So that's why YouTube becomes responsible. So if YouTube has, millions of users putting up videos, they have to keep track of every single time someone uses a copyrighted image, and has to make sure that everyone is, accounted for, which is insane.
Impossible.
And that's,
it's impossible. It's too many people linked to YouTube. There's no way that they'll be able to track that down. So probably the easiest way would be to just strike people right away. And it's really stopped. I mean, that's one of the best thing that YouTube brought, is the sense of community, the sense that, for instance, right now we're talking to people that are all the way across the world, and this is the great thing that YouTube offers us. But like you said, this type of stuff is really scary, because it's not like what can we do about it? Is there anything that we can do about it?
Other than
just not use, not talk about entertainment, not use any illustration anymore. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and can't even have
there's no end to it. I mean, even just using like an image for a thumbnail, that's copyrighted. Like, if you wanted to use that picture of Jaws behind you, you couldn't even use that as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
What?
Because you don't own the picture.
No, don't take my Jaws away.
So I can't have this cup. This is a friend's cup. This is copyright infringement, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, you are such
Sorry.
a criminal.
Sorry.
You are an international criminal. How dare you?
Sorry if your live stream gets copyrighted. It's all my fault. I'll give you the money. I'm so sorry.
We had a friend's mug.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, you know me.
The fair use has always been a bit of a joke.
Yeah. because it's like, okay, it's sometimes this, it's sometimes that, you know, it's just, it's so broadly worded that basically depending on the case, depending on the person fighting the case, can determine which way it goes, and that shouldn't be how it is. It should be, this is fair use, this isn't fair use. And in my mind, if you know, the way the language is, it has to be something that's transformative. So something that's not just using the new material and claiming it as one's own, but actually doing something about it. Trailer reactions, that's transformative because you're reacting to it, you're talking about it, and yet somehow, some way, and you add on top of that the fact it's promotional material that is supposed to be used in this way. Is supposed to be, you know, it's there and available for people to cut and to bring, you know, that's the whole point of having promo material in the first place. But I digress. And it's just like, fascinating.
But I have heard of YouTubers that were asked for by Warner Bros. Directly to react to their trailers, and then the trailer got claimed. I mean, that's how this has happened. I've seen this happen. Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that shows. Yes. This has happened. I think it was Rio Rejects. Do you know that channel, Rio Rejects?
Yes.
Yeah.
The two guys.
So they were Warner Bros. Actually asked them, "Can you react to this trailer?" And then the trailer got claimed.
Oh,
so
that's
this
great.
Kind of shows.
Did it get claimed by a bot, or did they do it on purpose?
Like,
did they manually do it?
It says manual claim. But the problem is that obviously it's a big company, and the person that perhaps asked them to react is not the same person that is in charge of creating this claim. So that's why this stuff is happening. Yeah. And it really shows how the system, how YouTube is not really, how it always has been a problem for us creators, because like I said, as of now, YouTube has always not really been reliable for these copyright claims. It's just the platform. But now with this whole Article 13, the fact that they might be reliable, they're definitely going to come up with a different way to react to it, and it's definitely going to affect all of us.
Yeah, I mean, because even if you...
Well, before Article 13 sorry.
No, go ahead, Lethal.
Before Article 13 even kicked in, my worst experience with fair use was I did a Star Wars video talking about lightsaber combat and all the different forms and just the stuff I noticed in movies compared to books and whatnot. And I used Rey versus Kylo from Force Awakens, and that whole video got taken down by Disney, saying that I was using it, you know, without adding anything to it. Was pretty much
not even just a copyright claim, but taken down.
They deleted the whole video, man.
God.
But yet, it's all over the internet. You see people talking about Star Wars all the time. There's people on YouTube that do like skits, and they show the whole entire clip.
Yeah.
So why?
Well, I jacked the video. I jacked the footage from someone that had jacked it from Disney. I didn't take it from the Disney channel. This person stole it from Disney, and I stole it from them.
Yeah,
and his is fine. Yeah. And his is just a little.
And it wasn't even theft because you weren't claiming it. Because, and that's the whole problem with all of us, is that, you know, with the whole fair use thing, like, fair use shouldn't even be a thing. As long as you're not claiming it as your own, as long as you're not saying, I made this footage, I made this material, and as long as you're not just, if I was just putting trailers on my channel, yeah, guess what? I should be taken down.
Yeah, different.
But if I am showing it and I have my face on there and I'm reacting and I'm talking about it, that is obviously me not saying, "Oh guys, look at this! I made this. I'm claiming this as my own." Look at that. Like, to me, like, because it's basically the same mindset I use with my students with plagiarism, because a lot of times they don't understand what it means. So there's this thing called Turnitin.com, and it shows them a similarity percentage, and for them they think that means plagiarism percentage. And it's like, no. Just because something is similar doesn't mean it's plagiarized. Because it's like, oh no, that's not what it means. If you have a 60%, it means, like, because for example, I had one student one year who thought he would be smart, and he followed all the rules to the letter. But one thing he did was he copy and pasted a speech, and his paper was a speech. But what he did, he cited it. He gave it its citation. He cited the source, and he said, "I don't see what I did wrong. I cited the source." And I was like, yeah, but you didn't add any material. But that's an example of how someone did not claim something for himself. He cited it properly. And I feel like any person that does anything with film, anything with clips, or anything with pictures, as long as they make it clear that, hey, this is obviously not mine, which shouldn't need to be said in certain situations, because it's like, obvious I didn't make this trailer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as long as you're giving that...
I made this massive spaceship.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're not attributing it to yourself, I think that you should automatically be protected, because, as I said, that's not plagiarism. Just because it's similar doesn't mean it's plagiarized, doesn't mean it's stolen. Plagiarism is, again, when you claim something as your own that is not of yourself and is not from you directly. And that's why this is just so ridiculous.
It's crazy. Like, say, for example...
Well, you could say... Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll just real quick. You could... The best example in recent memory is when Star Wars HQ got his video manually claimed.
Someone's got trash coming by today.
We still got about 5 days here.
What is? Yeah, is that Viv? Is that you?
There's. Yes, I guess.
Make sure you took your bin out, Vivian.
Watching outside.
You better have your bin out this morning, Vivian.
My what? Oh, my
your bin. Or no, what do you call it? Trash.
We call it a bin.
Yes.
Yeah, trash bin, trash can. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I learned a lot of new. I lived in England for a year, and I learned how, because the English people would correct me. They did not want me to speak any American words. So anything I would say, like if I would say something, no, you say rubbish. No, you say butter. No, you say water. Like I could not say anything very American. It was really funny.
Yeah, like trunk. You know, like the back of a car. The way you would say, put it in the trunk. We would say, put it in the boot.
Oh.
Yep, boot. That's what we call it.
We call it a boot.
Yeah, we call it the boot as well in Australia. Yeah,
yep.
It's the boot.
Pop the boot.
Yeah,
jack it in the boot, mate. Yep.
Jack up the boot. Why is it called a boot?
I have no idea. Like as in a boot you walk in, like boot you walk in. It's the same. A boot.
Yeah. So it's spelled the same. B-double-O-T.
So it's kind of like the Canadians. You know what you talking about? That's what we really need. We need a Canadian on this stream. That's what we really need. We need to have that going on, and I need to just act like from South Park and just treat them awful the entire time.
It's so funny the way Vivian was saying people were correcting her, because right, I have an uncle that lives in Somerset in England, and I went over there and lived for a few months, right? And like all my like cousins and second cousins were always making fun of me. We went to like a barbecue, and they were saying, "Say water," and I'd say water, and they'd go, "What's water?" And then they'll go, "Say bath," and I'd say bath. And say shower, and I'd say shower. And they're like, shower? What's that?
What's a shower?
Shower? Where's a shower? Have an iron, tell you, let's take a shower.
As I said, I already shared this with Julie. There's a great video. Before getting back to Article 13 to wrap up at least that part of it, there's a great video of the Harry Potter cast speaking American. And it's hilarious because they're given certain phrases. Oh, it's brilliant. So great. It's so great. Now, obviously, I can't show it because, I mean, I'll get copyright strike for it. And but it's fantastic because you have like all these actors from Britain, and they're looking at these words and they're like, how do you say this in American? How do I pronounce this? Oh, it's fantastic. Like they say things like booyah, and even Olive Garden is difficult. So it's hilarious. It's so good. But no, seriously though, with all of this, and I think that it all really comes down to it, this is scary for YouTubers, from, all, sizes, both the small and the larger channels. That's why you've heard some of the largest channels on YouTube talking about this, both American, non-American as well, those especially in the UK, talking about how scary this is, because there already is this, standard in place where you can get copyright claimed, struck for some things that really shouldn't be, and the appeals process takes forever. And so now what you have is you have a government agency, a large government agency stepping in, and now it's going to be governments claiming things, and now it's going to be YouTube taking more responsibility, and now it's going to make it even worse for content creators, not just in the UK, not just in the EU, but across the world too, because as I think as Viv, I think who was the one that mentioned it, that we could potentially be blocked in certain countries. Right. And it really depends. I think that's going to depend on the country. I think the country and how they implement that in Article 13 is going to determine that. Where if they get a stream, like let's say, for example, there's a stream that pops up and it gets like a copyright claim, but they're based in the United States, I don't think the EU can do anything about it necessarily. But what they can do is say, hey, YouTube, there's someone using a copyrighted image here. And then YouTube just says, okay, and then cuts off access if they haven't pulled out altogether. So just going through each person, Lethal, I don't know if we got your full take on this, but being halfway across the world, so things take a little bit longer to get to you, from the rest of society, I guess you could say, even though you're also ahead of time, so you're both from the future, and also in the past at the same time.
And you're wearing a
Unlike
Black
Zero
Cooper
Sources.
t-shirt.
So Lethal, what are your thoughts? You know, any final thoughts or any just thoughts in general? Because I don't know if we ever got your official take on Article 13 and how it might affect you. I mean, obviously Australia is an independent nation, but how,
Yes, we are real.
yes, we are real. we exist apart from Britain. Damn it. So what is kind of your take on it? And do you have any other, you know, people from Australia, other streamers from Australia, as I know you do, and kind of like the overall sentiment of what y'all feel?
Yeah, well, I've looked into like our laws about it, and ours are a little bit iffy. In some ways, Australia is actually a very censored place. We're not like China or anything like that, but we have some really strange censorship laws. Like, I remember it was a big deal. We got Mortal Kombat here, so we got some really weird laws. And it looks like it's going to be a full process. Now, this is assuming that Article 13 gets to Australia. Well, it will eventually. It's going to get everywhere. But it's going to be an actual full-on process. It's got like multiple layers of government to get through. And each layer is just going to make it more difficult for the last one because they're going to put in their own regulations and all that sort of stuff. But my biggest worry that I don't think has really been talked about quite a bit is like the gaming channels. We don't own the video game. Well, we paid for it, but that we're not like, you know, that's not their property. You know, it's like the developer owns it, and the developers are owned by the publishers and all that. So what does that mean? Does that mean, again, going back to Mortal Kombat, if I'm playing Mortal Kombat and I'm playing a Scorpion, they're going to say, well, fuck, you don't own Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an endless rabbit hole. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, they're going after memes. The memes, people.
They're the
No
funnest
more
part.
Ben Swallows.
Yeah. And I think that's
Memes are
really,
fun.
And
Yeah.
did you know that Google spoke out against it? Even Google
yeah.
said no.
Well, let's and
this.
this is the thing too, because someone did point this out. So you know, let's not. I will definitely never defend Google. I have my issues with YouTube, with Google in general. I mean, YouTube. Let's just be honest. We've already been talking about how YouTube's broken in the first place, and basically with YouTube and Google saying that they're going to pull out of the EU, etc. It's all out of self-interest. It's all because they don't want to deal with the frivolous lawsuits. It's all because they don't want to have to deal with anything. It's all out of their own self-interest. They don't care about content creators. We already know this, but I think still the fact that you have even corporations saying this is not a good idea, and you have every person, both creators and also giant corporate overlords, saying the same thing, it tells you that this is a bad idea. And it's just fascinating to me that, as you said, memes are going to be gone after. Video games, that to me is huge, because how many people, I mean, the fact that there is something called YouTube gaming, the fact that there are Twitch streamers that game, that's a huge market. It's a huge thing. What happens to them? Do they now have to, you know, now honestly, what I think is going to happen in most situations is that the video game companies are not going to file any claims because they want promotion in most situations.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, a game company, if they wanted to, especially maybe indie creators, indies probably not as much though, because they definitely want to get attention to their games. But if they ever wanted to, they could say, nope. If I live in the UK or if it's being played in the UK, I can claim it under the EU law, the EU gigantic law, that it is unacceptable for you to use my content and claim it as your own. But I'm not. I'm just playing it. I don't care. It's not protected anymore. I mean, that's my government voice. Is how dare you?
I thought it was Master Odin. I'm Master Odin.
I'm Master
You shall
Odin,
hear
and
me.
we will not deal with this silliness here. How dare you? It's part UK, I don't know. It's part Britain somewhere, some
It's
country.
kind of intertwined into
It's a
into
multicultural
everything.
stream.
It's a multicultural stream. That is absolutely true.
Exactly. Can I say something real quick?
I've got a
Absolutely.
theory. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, no, Lethal. Go ahead.
No, ladies first. I cut you off last time.
Oh, thank you. So, you know, such a gentleman. We don't have many of these over here in Ireland, so no. I was going to say, has any of you guys noticed, or is it just me? Do you know when you go onto YouTube and you search, say, Shazam trailer reaction, right? And you can click on a tab where it says, last uploaded yesterday, last uploaded this week. It doesn't work anymore. It's broken. It's the same 3 people, popular, famous YouTubers that keep coming up. And I'm sorry if that sounds rude, but or even Endgame trailer,
No, you're 100%
anything at all, it doesn't work. And I'm not going to mention the people, but it's the same 3 freaking people. And it's like YouTube are just looking after all these big channels. So what about someone that has 5 subscribers and they want to start doing a really good YouTube channel? That doesn't exactly give them much hope.
I think that's where the algorithm problem kicks in. Obviously, yeah, that happens a lot, because like a lot of the bigger channels, they will get more, and they're the ones that are being like shown more, which is, I mean, they already have a ton of subscribers. It's not like they need it.
Yeah.
But to this day, I'm still trying to figure out this algorithm that people talk about, because it's not very simple to understand. I don't know.
No one understands.
I don't understand it at all. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know where to find it.
And someone said this on a stream last night.
It's like the issue, though.
It's like the supreme intelligence from Captain Marvel. Who knows what it is? It's something, but no, it is algorithm. And actually, I think YouTube overplayed its hand. You know, speaking of the Captain Marvel stuff with Captain Marvel by changing its algorithm
right now.
Because remember,
like, that's, oh my God.
We know that they do it. We know that they have that power to tweak even just a small thing that has a giant impact, because beforehand, if you were to look up Brie Larson or Captain Marvel, you would see the quartering first. You would see these channels with like a ton of views first. Now, when you search it, you get BuzzFeed and New York Times and these so-called legitimate news sources. Now you can still find it, and I think some people were trying to spin it just to, you know, clickbait some people. You still were able to find the other channels. Like it's like maybe like 10 to 15 searches down, but still the fact that 10 to 15 videos are being put before anyone else's only because they are legitimate news sources shows you that YouTube totally has the power to affect the algorithm, to affect what buzzwords pop up. And also Mecha Random mentioned this in the chat last night too, and all of us kind of had the same thing. Like 2 weeks ago, all of our channels were doing like gangbusters. Like, it was insane, the amount of views, the amount of subscribers, all this stuff. And then after 2 weeks, especially in conjunction with, interestingly enough, this change in the algorithm where they at least changed the tag for any time Brie Larson or Captain Marvel was mentioned, that it was worthy of news, and therefore legitimate news sources like the New York Times, the only trusted place in news, could show up first. It told me very clearly, okay, so yeah, you obviously do control this, and that explains why now everything, you know, is still going up, but has been cut severely. So before, though, moving into the Captain Marvel topic, anyone else wanted to say anything about Article 13? Because I didn't want to shut anybody off from that if they wanted to talk about Article 13.
I've got a theory about the whole gaming side of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a bit tinfoil, Alex Jones style.
Oh boy. Well, as long as you don't talk about frogs, I think we'll be okay.
Jesus. But yeah, what I was saying before about how, like, you know, you don't actually own, like, the sense, like, you don't own the characters in the game. So that means, like, publishers and developers will have full control of that. So I think, and you already see this quite a bit. They are going to have people that they're kind of like sponsored by them, you know, gamers, players, YouTubers that are sponsored by them, and they're going to be the only ones that can, like, you know, play the game, stream the game, and give their thoughts on the game. But obviously, they're going to have to say what they're told to say. Like, they're shills, they're typical shills. I mean, look at Star Wars HQ; they're the perfect example of that. So I think it's just going to get to the point.
That's actually a really good point.
Where,
I mean, especially with this,
I critique games. I play a lot of video games. I critique them. I say, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is brilliant. But it will get to the point where it says, well, if you want to play the game online, you have to say everything's perfect.
Yeah,
and that's the one positive thing about Article 13 in this regard. There's nothing positive about it, but in this regard is I think it's going to expose a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, you've just been lying the whole time.
No, I think that is true.
I don't know, someone like one of you three critiques something and says, you say, no, this sucks, this isn't good. They're going to go, nope, you're not allowed to say that.
No freedom of speech, like, and like that's interesting.
Yes,
like what you're saying there, because I don't know if you've seen the channel Computing Forever, but he's from Ireland, and he actually
the redhead.
Yeah, and he actually
David Cullen, right? Isn't that his full name?
Yeah, he has a couple. I think he has a few channels.
Yeah.
But he was actually saying pretty much what you were saying there, that basically it might pretty much see all these like big companies and all these gaming companies, right? What he was trying to say from his video, what I took from it anyway, was it's going to be big conglomerate companies like IGN, all these news companies and gaming companies, and pretty much all YouTubers can just go bugger. That's what it sounded like to me. So it's going to only be, as you're saying, oh, this game's lovely. It's like sunshine and rainbows, you know, from Rocky Balboa. You know, it's not like, oh, these elements of the game are kind of wrong. The boss fights are terrible. You know, so what's the point in giving a fake view on a game rather than myself or any of you giving a proper, genuine review of a game or of a movie? There's no freedom of speech then.
No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Exactly.
True.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a video game, but that was just an example.
Anything, yeah, but just anything at all.
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to come on talk about your hobbies, you know?
Even comic books. You could review a comic book and say, "Oh, this is great."
Up, that's claimed. Up, you can't show that. Up,
Lethal,
Lethal, get it off. Hurry. No, because it's true. Because that.
Oh shit! I don't own Batman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Getting back to because Nerdrotic, the reason why his channel got claimed in the first place is because he showed an image comparing two versions of Hellboy. He was talking about Hellboy and how it looks now compared to the last set of films.
Do you think
and that's how he got claimed, for showing an image while talking about it. That's insane.
Do you think that someone kind of flagged them and that's why he brought attention to it?
Probably. And I think that's the reason why we have this system that's really broken, is because people can go in and do what's called this manual, you know, this manual claim. And anytime someone goes through the effort to make a manual claim, I think it's always taken through until it's appealed or until it's you know, questioned. And that, I think, is the broken system. And I think that you were kind of getting, you know, talking about the gaming and having a certain select people doing certain games and stuff. This all really ties in together because, you know, we're looking at this and we're talking about the EU. And a lot of times we forget the fact that YouTube is something that very well could have done something about this, but decided not to, and now is going to use its power to pull out, which makes it more powerful in the end. And basically what you have going on here is the most dangerous society. You want to, it's so funny whenever you think about those dystopian futures that are set aside, it's always like the giant corporations, they're evil. No. It's the giant corporations that have been in bed with big government. That is what causes this dystopian future, and that is what we're going to see, I think, happen here, is that you're going to see even more interactions between these giant governments and these giant corporations, and they're, again, going to be able to pick and choose. All right, you get to say this, you get to say that, because y'all talking about free speech. I already know the UK is terrible when it comes to free speech. If you misgender somebody in public, you can be fined. You can be arrested. Yeah. If you say something that is not according to the norms of their, you know, it's awful. Canada, same way. If you say something in Canada, you can be arrested. There is no free speech. Australia, is there something similar in Australia by any chance?
I think he's a way to get another cup of coffee.
Probably.
Hey guys, just so you know, I have another like 10-15 minutes left. So
yes.
if you wanna...
Yeah, you know, I was just literally thinking of that. I was looking at the time and I'm thinking, Vivian has to go in like 10-15 minutes.
So we can transition. We can start over with Vivian as well. So obviously we can talk about this even more so, and we might continue it on a little bit later because, you know, if anyone ever needs to go, they can go. But because Viv does need to head out because she works on the weekends. Which,
well, I have a very weird schedule. I'm sorry.
she's really Wonder Woman, guys.
No, but it's true because I'm always like, sometimes also because I'm in school, a lot of the I'm always on the studio. Sometimes we're doing all like the projects and films has to be done over the weekend because there's classes during the week. So the weekends are the worst time for me.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. No. Well, we'll work it out because for next time we'll definitely.
Fridays are like the days that I can always.
Okay, cool. So yeah, for this one, obviously, because like I had it planned, but I didn't really, because you guys have known, like, you know, things have been kind of hectic for me lately, which is why yesterday was insane because I was doing a stream with Anna, and then Gary Nerdrotic literally brought on Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Ethan Van Sciver, Jesse Milestone, like a bunch of other big YouTubers, and they all just surprised me, and we ended up having like a stream like 400 plus people, and I was like, what? I was just ready to talk about Alita Battle Angel, but oh my god. And it was insane. So, you know, things have been hectic, but next time, so, you know, we're planning to do this, you know, I'm trying to hope to get this, you know, be once a month. So we'll be able to plan a month in ahead. So that way we can get the perfect day and the perfect time for everyone. So if Friday works best for Viv, then we can try and work it out. Because since me and Viv are very close in timing to each other, then that might be best. Unfortunately, next time it might be worse for probably Julie, because that means we'll probably have to do like 6 or 7 our time, which means it'll be... you know, midnight, 1 a.m.
We'll all take a turn taking a hit.
No, midnight's okay. Midnight's okay. You know, it's not like it's
She's a party animal.
5 in the morning.
She's a party animal. It's not a big deal.
Life.
Oh, I'm up till 3 a.m. anyway. It's all right.
I'm an innocent Irish woman. I have, you know, I behave myself. And, you know, it's like Lethal said, my mother had me tested. I'm like Sheldon Cooper. There you go.
but Lethal, now that you're back, we're transitioning over to
I like this one.
to Captain Marvel.
I like this one.
since Viv has to go. So Viv, what are your overall thoughts on Captain Marvel? If you've seen the movie, thoughts. If not, the media coverage, the media protection, and all the nonsense that's been surrounding it overall. Go ahead and just give your hot take on that.
Yes, I have seen Captain Marvel. I was trying to really, the thing is, I really did not want it to get, because obviously if there's so much propaganda surrounding a film, it can really take your enjoyment away from being a film. And we've been seeing this everywhere now in the media. It's all about agenda. It's all about this. It's no longer about. So I wanted to not get too involved so I could really critique the film, which is what I did. So I did see the film, and obviously, I don't think that was such a big deal. Why were they making such a big deal? It's not even an amazing film. I was actually very, I did 2 videos about it. One, I said my non-spoiler review, my spoiler review. I just didn't think the character is inspiring enough. And I don't understand the whole big deal. Obviously it's because of the backlash on Brie Larson, but it's very clear how the media has been protecting her, you know, and not even bringing attention to the way that she put out her ideas. Again, no one is saying you can't expose your ideas, but she was very clear when she said on her remarks about the white male. And obviously, why would you attack? Because why would you even say that thing for and think that is not going to affect the majority of your audience? I mean, obviously people still went to see the film, but the whole deal about Captain Marvel, I just don't understand. Did you see the film? Any of you saw the film?
I have.
You saw.
I have.
Did you not? Didn't you think that they didn't give her any stakes? They just make her, I'm the best.
Yeah, she was the best.
Ever.
Like, even when she had her, and, you know, some people say, oh, but her powers were limited. She had that little inhibitor chip the entire time. It's like, yeah, and even then she was OP.
No.
Even then she could whip anybody. Like, so, I'm sorry, but what kind of hero's journey is that? Oh, wait, that's right, it's not.
Like,
it's not.
You know that scene, that's one scene where she's tied up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes boom, and then I was like, okay, now she's gonna struggle with the with her powers, and then she just goes. I was like, not even Superman did that. Superman was struggling to learn how to learn. So this kind of stuff, I was just watching the film as the film without the controversy. There's a lot of things that to me does not. I did not come out of that. Wow, I really like Captain Marvel now. I really understand her journey. I really understand and that's not what I got from Shazam. I did see Shazam and I was like, oh my God. And the next day I bought a t-shirt.
Oh, yes.
Wait, is Shazam out over there?
No, so basically,
no,
there was a
pre-screening.
Yeah, there was basically so what they did was they did a 2-week early screening on Saturday, and it actually ended up doing very well. It made $3.3 million, and that's in like a limited number of screens.
The movie's so good.
Whoa.
It's so good.
Please, no spoilers between Odin and Vivian, because
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet either. I just know the numbers.
Oh, okay.
I just know the numbers because it actually on that Saturday, because they did something similar, I want to say, for Aquaman, and it made about about 13% is what the article I read said more than what Aquaman did, which means that this theoretically could be another billion-dollar film. But of course, we'll have to wait and see, because it all depends on the number of screens, the number of formats, and we'll talk about that a little bit in Captain Marvel. But sorry, Viv, continue.
The reviews are very positive as well. But this is what I say. Like, as far like I'm the person that I love entertainment, I love superheroes, the whole idea, and that's why I was very worried about Captain Marvel, because the way that they were pushing her, even as a storytelling, like if you really think about storytelling, a universe has been established for 10 years. And it's not that people is against the female hero. It's not about that, but they don't understand what they're trying to do is like, the Marvel universe doesn't have any strong female leads, so now we have to push Captain Marvel, as if like, no, there are other characters over there that people would rather have seen a film. Like, even like I would take Gamora. She's way more awesome than Captain Marvel, or Black Widow. And it's not like I said, mainly from the film itself. It's not a movie that is really made me like Captain Marvel. I don't think that she's an inspiring hero. I still don't understand what she stands for. I was just like, the movie is just so flat.
I'm so glad, Vivian, that I didn't go and see it. But can I just ask you one quick question? Because I know you have to go. When I was watching the trailer, right, I'm sorry, I just couldn't go and watch that woman's face. But when I was watching the trailer, I noticed that when she was jumping up onto the train, it looked like she was in pain or she was in agony. But like, is that not when she already had her powers? So why, if she's supposed to be the most powerful in the Marvel universe, then why did she look like it was such a big task to get up? Because I paused the trailer and she looked in pain when she was trying to hang on to the train. What was that about?
In the movie, that shot is so quick. I didn't really pay attention that she. I didn't really notice that she was in pain, but what I noticed is that throughout the entire film, she's very much, if you could say, she's even more of a Mary Sue than Ray, I would say. Like,
oh my gosh!
You know, if you think that Ray didn't have any struggles, go see Captain Marvel and then you see. And it's not like I said, like it's just it's the movie where it's clearly. If you compare and you see it, of course, Nick Fury is a big chunk of this film, which I thought, wow, he's probably going to be way less, but no, he's very present in this film.
Yeah.
And another thing that really I didn't like is the fact that he is a completely different character, you know, and you can clearly see that was done so she would shine more, which I don't understand this concept. Why in order for a woman to shine, you have to dumb down the man? Why can they find that balance? It just doesn't make sense. Like the way that Nick Fury loses his eye and the way that he's a complete different character. And I'm not saying like, when you meet him in the Avengers, he is this guy that he's so mysterious, and this movie kind of breaks a lot of that. It's the same thing with the Solo film from Star Wars, for instance, in my opinion. It really broke that mysterious aspect of Han Solo. We learned stuff that we didn't need to learn, and I was like, this was me when I found out, is that how he loses his eye? I was just like so bummed out. Like,
no, but you're so right. You're so right.
You know what I mean? And I could totally see, like, you know, and I also just completely disagree with the whole PR surrounding the film. I don't understand why they over and over again they have to keep pushing this type of agenda, knowing that what are they trying to accomplish? Why are you trying to get at people that are actually supporting your material? I mean, it still made money, but let's face it. When I went to see Captain Marvel, pretty much every single screen was Captain Marvel, so that means it didn't even give people other options. So it's understandable. The Marvel brand is very strong, and then every single theater was Marvel, Captain Marvel. So people don't have any options, and not everyone is following.
Wow.
You know, not everyone is following any backlash or whatever she's saying. Most people are just going to watch a film, for instance, and
normies.
The normies, yeah, absolutely. And because we got about 3 minutes until Hey Viv has to go. Hey Viv, if there's any...
I could stay until about like another 15 minutes, and then I could go.
Okay, all right, yeah, because I was actually going to let you, if you wanted to just have final thoughts or to promote your channel, but just let me know when you need to, and we can do that. So Julie, having been someone that has not seen Captain Marvel, it's mostly just about the media coverage and the spins and the Rotten Tomatoes situation. So what's been kind of your take on all of this going on as someone who hasn't seen the movie but has obviously experienced all the media coverage?
Well, as you can tell, I am not a very big Brie Larson fan. I think I've made that pretty obvious, but I wanted to go on something Viv was talking about there a second ago, because the whole like Nick Fury and how he loses his eye thing, as Vivian was saying, like talk about taking the complete mystery away from it, because when he said the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye or whatever. I can't do his accent.
That was a great accent, by the way.
You know, the last time I trusted someone, I lost it. No, that's more.
I didn't know he was from the South.
Yeah, that's more Southern.
We got cowboy. We got cowboy.
I think I'm going to give up.
My name's Nick Fury, and I'm from the South. The last time I trusted somebody down here in Texas, I lost an eye.
I was in a cowboy bar, and I was drinking some beer. And when I trusted someone, y'all, I lost my goddamn eye. So when he said that,
Is that how I sound? Oh, Lord.
Kind of. But as Vivian says, you expect it to be something cool, Odin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You expect it to be something cool, or like some sort of crazy way, or like some sort of story. But like, really? Like, that sounds like it's taken the whole, as Vivian says, takes the whole mystery away. But to me, my massive issue is the fact that, as Vivian says, you've had 10 years of this story arc being built. Then this woman just thinks she can come along. Like, you can't just show up like that, right? And she just comes along and thinks 4 weeks, literally 4 weeks before Endgame comes out, that she can just be Miss World. Like, sorry, but I think it's very selfish of Marvel to think that we would all be okay with that. Like, who even said that was okay? Who even asked for a freaking damn well Captain Marvel movie? Sorry.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, she's not even in the comics. She was rebooted in the comics because she's a disliked character, which I can't say anything about the comics. Captain Marvel, the movie, was my first introduction to the character. And I thought, like, being very neutral. Like, I wasn't really paying attention on all the controversy because I wanted to be neutral, and I went to see the film to see, does this fit within the universe? Being very neutral, I thought that, yes, indeed, they make this character extremely powerful to the point that she could beat Thor, for instance. So she's up there, which I was like, it's okay to have an overpowered character, but if you don't give this character any stakes, it just makes the movie boring. And they're obviously just doing this because she's a woman. And I was like, it's like, I remember on my review, I was comparing with Man of Steel for Superman, for instance. Superman is a very superpowered. Superman is a superpowered character. He's the strongest one in the DC universe, right? But when you watch Man of Steel, even though with his flaws, what are the stakes? The stakes is that, first of all, he doesn't have any military training, and he's fighting 20 other Supermans. That's the stakes, and that makes you, oh my God, how is he going? It's the same with the original. Remember him when he's fighting Ursula and Zod, and you go, oh my God, how he's going to do? It's 3 of them. So the stakes are out there. So that element is lacking in Captain Marvel. It's really not there. Like, it's the way that they put her in a film. She's easily destroying this and destroying that, and she's like, woohoo, woohoo.
Oh God, that's right. They added the woohoos too. I forgot about that part. God.
As if there's no stakes. There's no. Why do I even care to watch? This is what I was thinking. I was like, is this how you're supposed to really introduce your character? Is this how? Like, you can't just make Miss Perfect like this. Nobody's perfect. Therefore, you make your character not relatable. And I'm talking mainly about the film here. I'm not even going on her controversy. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. And then, of course, the controversy plays a big role because, like I said, like, if you see Wonder Woman, how before, and how Gal Gadot was talking about Wonder Woman.
Praise the goddess.
You know, and you compare her to what Brie Larson has been saying. Why? I just don't understand it. Like, what's going on in these people's head, you know? I know that, okay, she wants to be an activist. You have your own freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. But why do you have to bring and even paint everyone as being these terrible people, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that you really you nail it with that last point, especially about how, you know, there's no secret that most of the people that are in these movies are far left. You know, just of their own political ideology. That is the common ideology of Hollywood. And so we've had people like, I mean, it's very easy to find, oh my God, I'm being poked by Viv.
No, I am
being attacked.
I'm streaming from my phone, and there's a lot of like messages.
She wants to pet your dogs.
And no, just because of the way I have it set up, it was still on you, and so basically it was just you pointing into the camera, and I was like, oh no, God.
She's trying to touch your beard. She's grooming your beard.
But you make that point about just how she is so OP all throughout, and there's no hero's journey really when it comes down to it. And also, not only that, but they sacrifice other characters in the process. I mean, Nick Fury, not only do they have the whole cat scratch of the eye out, and I don't care if anyone's like, oh, it's a spoiler. I don't care. It's stupid, and everyone knows about it at this point.
Everyone should know by now. I
know, seriously. So you look at that, and then also you add on top of that the fact that he's a SHIELD agent, and yet he has like almost no concept of aliens whatsoever. he is someone who doesn't know how to handle weapons. The fact that they have her, her Air Force pilot friend who has never heard of aliens either and is an Air Force pilot, somehow knows how to use alien weaponry while he holds the cat. It's just like, what? Wait, what? Nick Fury is supposed to be the badass here, and he's the one that's just holding the cat, while the person with, we could see, seemingly no other training other than actual, flying a plane, flying a jet, is somehow being able to handle, alien weaponry. That doesn't make any sense here. And then, of course, at the very end, when she goes total OP, or as they say in the comics, binary. I don't know why that's the name for it. Yeah, it's what they call it, binary. And so basically what she does is, she's doing the woohoo, and she's flying through. And it's not even that she's like shooting photon blasts. She flies through it. She literally just cuts through all of these ships like butter and destroys all these nukes, all of these ships. And in the process, totally emasculates Ronan, who runs away, tail between his legs.
Yeah, she goes.
And now, yep, exactly. And now every time we watch Guardians of the Galaxy, we're going to be like, wait a minute, this guy is supposed to be menacing? No, this is the guy that ran away from Captain Marvel. So, yeah, basically it was all about let's make her as strong as possible.
So it's good that I didn't see it then. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yes.
it's Luke Skywalker all over again. It's the same thing, But this, I'm going to say this. With Luke Skywalker, I got way more hurt because Star Wars is way dear to me. I like Marvel. I love Marvel. But I don't have the same connection that I have to Star Wars, for instance. For that reason, I don't really care about Brie Larson. I still do stand, but with the whole Luke Skywalker, it's in a different level because that's when I was a child, and that's my child hero.
Yeah.
But I think that they failed miserably in doing this kind of thing. I think that they are forgetting how movies are supposed to. I just I don't understand. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? Why do they think that, and a strong female character, it's not only physical strength, it's also their character that makes them strong.
Yeah, you need to care about them as well.
Of course, you look at Ripley, you look at Sarah Connor, they're not super-powered heroes, and yet they are considered one of the most iconic female empowerment characters. For what reason? Because of their character, because of how they deal with situations. And that's what it was missing there, because she's the strongest one, but in physical strength, not really in character. I still don't understand. If you ask me, what does Captain Marvel stands for? What is her, I don't know. I'm just like,
yeah.
This is me. I don't know.
I don't think they even know either.
I guess.
Women empowerment.
Yeah, seriously. It's not even strong female. It's just women empowerment. Because if you want a strong female, correction. If you just want
female empowerment.
Bad, absolutely. That's why I said before. If you want a good character, not even just a female character, a good character, you have Alita Battle Angel. You have plenty of other well-written characters. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. I mean, to me, I look back to the interviews. I look to the interviews of Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, who could have easily turned the interviews into just this nonstop, talk about women. And even they were saying, we don't want people to view it that way. We want it to just be a movie. And I was just like, thank you. Because that's how everyone else is going to pretty much view it, is this is a movie with a character.
Especially taking the fact that Wonder Woman has been a female icon for since the 40s. She's just been around. She's way more iconic. I actually thought that too. She's gonna go. And the movie, obviously, if you guys, I'm assuming all of you saw Wonder Woman. It's a very balanced. It's a very balanced film. The man around her is not dumbed down. They work as a team, and it's beautiful. And Wonder Woman is the one person that could indeed make everyone around her dumb, because she's a goddess. So she's in the level of, obviously. And I just, like I said, why is that movie way more pleasing to watch than Captain Marvel? Even though it has some good bits, I guess. So some good action, I guess. But as far as a superhero film, it's really lacking.
And an origin film at that too. It's totally lacking in the building the world. And that's why I said this before, that we pretty much have confirmation that there's going to be at least one major star leaving after Endgame. Obviously, any of them can stay on because they say, oh, my contract's up. Let's just be honest here. They could easily just be saying that for the sake of saying it. And we all know that they're not going to turn down, many of them are not going to turn down the giant money that they're going to be offered. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. alone is getting paid bank every single appearance he makes. Even if it's just in a Spider-Man movie, he gets paid bank. So I honestly, there's a part of me that thinks Robert Downey Jr. is not going to turn down another contract because, I mean, he's set for life. He could play this character for the
He's
rest of his
getting old
life.
though.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, but he still
But
could play this role forever, essentially.
But
I mean, most of it's CGI in his suit, so.
I feel like, did you feel this? That I felt that she was trying too hard to be a little like Tony Stark, because she's very cocky at times. But the difference is that I think that
she's no Robert Downey Jr. That's the big difference.
Exactly.
And if they think that she's going to be the next one, just wait until Captain Marvel 2 comes out. Because someone else was saying in the chat, this is, you know, we don't even have Captain Marvel 2 yet. And I was making the point earlier, you know, when I was talking about, you know, in a previous video that I did about, oh, everyone's saying, oh, this film is going to make $1 billion. And so therefore it's great. It's like, I could talk about a lot of $1 billion films that are terrible. One of which actually premiered in March, called Alice in Wonderland, made over $1 billion. Second movie did not even make 400 million because the first one sucked. No one wanted it. No one liked it. And so therefore no one saw it again. Now, am I going to say the same thing's going to happen to Captain Marvel 2? Not to that extent. But if they're going to go in this direction, absolutely, Captain Marvel 2 is not going to reach the same levels.
But guys, you have to also take in consideration, we knew this movie was going to make money because it was very strategic. The release date is very strategic. Obviously, it has a very strong link to Endgame. That's why I went to see it. Because if you're invested in the franchise, you want to know, how does this character fit in the universe? And that's the main reason a lot of people went to see it. So it's very strategic, the release date and all of that, because they need to make sure that this movie didn't bomb. And we also know there's also the Marvel brand is strong.
Oh yeah.
But yes, that's the question.
Yeah.
Going forward, is this character really going to hey guys, I'm gonna have to leave maybe in like 3 minutes.
That's what I was saying. So hey Viv, how about we just let you go ahead and just, you know, plug your channel, go ahead and, you know, plug anything else that you want to do and any final words you might have, and then we'll continue the conversation and get Lethal Lightning up in here, because I know Lethal's been holding back, and I've been and it's because we want to make sure that, you know, you have as much time as you have since you're leaving early, because we can go for a bit longer after. So so Viv, anything that you want to say?
All I wanted to say is that I really hope, going into Endgame, that they are not stupid enough to just have Captain Marvel be the saving grace at the end of the day, because it's just, as far as storytelling goes, that would be such a bummer. I think the most pleasing thing would be if she goes all cocky against Thanos and Thanos bit her, and you go, oh my God, we didn't expect that. That would be something that will probably be way more pleasing. I just think that, well, I hope, because again, like, I'm invested in a franchise now, and that's the worst thing that they could do, is get you invested in something and then just ruin because of like an agenda. I'd like to think that Feige is smart enough, but obviously with the whole propaganda and the whole protection behind Brie Larson, you know, obviously that all goes with these movements that nowadays and things like that. I mean, entertainment in general is just it's becoming, they call the fans toxic, but they are very toxic as well. They are putting all these messages out there and really painting people as horrible people. And sometimes what people are asking, just give me my entertainment free of politics. That's what people are asking. Is that so hard?
Absolutely. Well, hey Viv, thank you so much for joining the panel, and as I said before, we're going to try and do this once a month. So Hey Viv is definitely going to be, but the plan is to have this be the group, to have this be, you know, the representation. If over time there's another country that can be represented, or another culture that can be represented, obviously we can be open to that. But it's great to get these different perspectives from all across, from different cultures too. So Hey Viv, thank you so much for stopping by, and I know that you have to get to work. So I am posting the link to her channel, guys. Please, guys.
I'm going to be watching you guys on the cab on my
Oh,
way.
perfect. Well, guys, please support her and support her channel. I just dropped the link to her channel. So if you've not subscribed over to her, please go ahead and do that. Hit that sub button. She's awesome. She provides great content. And if you want to hear more takes like this, go over and check out her channel. Hey, Viv, thank you again so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya. Have a good day at work.
Thank you.
See ya, Viv. Nice to
The
meet
trash
you.
men are back.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, so continuing on our discussion. Also, please go sub over to Hey Viv. She's awesome. She really is, and she deserves your sub. Dan Maloney says subscribers 6,995 right here. Dan Maloney, thank you, man. Dude, Dan Maloney in the chat. I think Dan Maloney is a fellow Irishman, actually. So thank you so much, man, for being here and also for supporting Viv as well. Larry is too. So Lethal, we're gonna get you in here, man. So Captain Marvel.
Boy.
Let me get your hot take on Captain Marvel.
I think the first movie I'll talk about is the character herself, Carol Danvers. I read comic books. I'm a comic book dude. You know this, Odin. But so I just want to mention that Marvel, I am probably slightly biased here because I lean DC, but I just want all comic books to succeed in every way. I want the industry to thrive. It's not. It's suffering. But Marvel's key issue is they have gone full SJW lately. And do you know who's leading that charge? Carol Danvers, and has been for a while. There was a storyline that came out called Civil War 2. And this was, I think this was kind of done because of the hype of the movie. And they wanted to do a second comic book story. And it was essentially Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel was just absolutely ridiculous in it. Like in the first Civil War comic book story, you could kind of debate who was right. Whereas in this one, there was no debate. Like, she was in the wrong. And just to give you a rough idea of how bad this character is, she's been rebooted at least 5 times in at least 5 years. And it's rare. That just shows you how bad a character like this is. So when they first announced they were doing Captain Marvel in the MCU, I thought, oh, they're going to do the original, surely. And then I saw it was Brie Larson. I was like, wait, no, you're joking. They're doing Carol Danvers. I called it from the get-go. I said, this is not going to go down well. But at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan of the MCU. I respect it for what it is, but I thought if anyone can fix Carol Danvers, it's the MCU. I was wrong, as it turns out. Now, I haven't seen the movie. I have a naughty copy of it. Oh, no, shit.
Allegedly.
I've got a cam copy of it.
Allegedly.
We don't want to know what's on afterwards.
I don't have that. It's not that naughty. It's just... I got an internet copy.
Allegedly. He allegedly has one.
Allegedly.
EU, if you're watching this, I know that you don't have any power over Australia anymore, but in your quest for world domination,
we're independent.
He allegedly has one. Allegedly.
But I'm fully aware of all the spoilers of everything, so there's nothing you can say that's going to make it, ruin it for me and all that. Plus, I never planned to see it. And now the way when they picked Brie Larson to star as her as well, at first I thought, okay, maybe. And then she gave that speech, that, but I don't hate white men. It's like, well, who are you trying to fool? You're saying it like 4 times on stage. Like, you're not fooling me, and I don't think you're fooling yourself. So she just kept pushing that agenda non-stop. And this carried on for a long time, right up until the release of the movie. And even after the release of the movie, she did something that I thought was extremely likable when she was she was working at the cinema with the popcorn and all that. And believe it or not, she actually smiled. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but she has actually smiled. And if you look at the photo of her, she is so much more likable. Instantly, so much more likable.
So why did she not do that from the beginning?
She hates dudes. I don't know. This is the same person that was...
No, remember she said it like 4 times. I'm not saying I hate white dudes. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I hate white dudes. I'm not saying that. She said it 3 times. It's like, if you have to say it 3 times, you probably hate white dudes.
Yeah. And then she said A Wrinkle in Time wasn't for... What was it like? I don't need... For like some 40-year-old white
man
to tell me what's wrong with Disney's A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for them. And you're like, sorry, a movie is made for anybody who blink and well damn wants to watch it. Who on earth are you with a wee small Oscar from the room to say, oh, you're not allowed to watch this Disney film, or you're not allowed to watch this war film or this cowboy film? If I want to sit and watch a cartoon that's for 3-year-olds, I will literally sit and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, the only time that you can say...
I can turn around and say to her, I don't want you to watch Batman movies then.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't want you to listen to my music, Brie Larson.
I don't think anyone wants to listen to her music. Brie Larson's music from her early.
Oh, there's good memes.
Early career, which by the way, it's so great because Julie is now shining like the sun
Oh, is it too bright?
Oh no! Trust me,
This is my angelic halo.
Exactly. As I said, this is what we Irish. I mean, I'm telling you, we shine. You know, we glow.
It's a natural glow. Does it look natural?
It does look natural. It does look natural. And you know because in Ireland, people don't know. It's overcast a lot, so there's not a whole lot of sun for a lot of the time.
It's always raining, yeah.
Yeah, and then for me, being Irish but also hating the sun because I'm Irish, I also don't get a lot of sun either, and so therefore I keep my Irish my Irish tan, as I might want to call it, or lack thereof. But no, I think
Asgardian tan?
Yeah, exactly. My Asgardian tan, exactly. It doesn't get very sunny up here. I make sure Heimdall closes the Bifrost every time the sun comes up. But talking about just Captain Marvel for a bit, because yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Lethal. And that's why I think that you're a great person to talk to about this, because you have that knowledge of the comics. And that's a perspective that a lot of people don't have, because as you said, the comics is a dying industry, and a lot of it has to do with there's obviously a lot of different factors, but kind of the what Gary over at the Nerdrotic channel has said is that the straw that broke the camel's back was this SJW push within the comics industry, and at the center of that has been the Carol Danvers character, which someone in the chat mentioned has been rebooted about 4 or 5 times in the past 7 years. And if you're having to reboot a character that many times,
probably even more.
Yeah. And it's just, when you're having to reboot a character that many times in such a short period of time, it really does show, one, that people are not buying it, which is obvious. People aren't buying the comics, especially that comic anymore, or ever were at this point. And two, also that is going to have an impact on the MCU as well, because as we've seen in the very beginning, the MCU focused on the comics. Like, seriously, the first MCU films were clearly made for Marvel Comics fans. Like, you can tell a clear difference there,
100%.
that they were throwing so many bones to the Marvel Comics fans. And now after 11 years, they don't have to do that nearly as much anymore, because now they have an MCU fan base. And that's why I was saying before, getting into kind of why Captain Marvel made so much money, one of the main reasons why that's the case is because not only did they release it in China on the same day as everywhere else in the world, except for Japan was the only other major market that it didn't get a release in on the same day, but also it was in the most screens possible. I think only Infinity War, as far as the MCU is concerned, had more screens. It was also available in every premium market as well, meaning it was in IMAX, it was in 3D, it was in Dolby, it was in 4D, it was in the big box, the big D, whatever premium format you have. And as someone, I've mentioned this before, as someone who's worked at a movie theater, one of the things that these companies do, these studios do, is when they make their deals with the theaters, they tell the theaters, based on what the theater's capacity is, how many showings that they want to have and what showings they want to have. So therefore, any week, for usually it's the Tuesday or Wednesday beforehand, you'll get a sheet from a booker. So bigger studios, or rather bigger theaters like AMC, for example, Regal, they have a booker. And they're the ones that actually directly interact with the actual studio. And so the studio will say, all right, we want 20 shows a day in this format, 10 shows a day in this format, 5 shows a day in this format, and then all of this is put together and sent to the theater, and then the theater has to accommodate that and has to find times in the day and get those formats. So when you take this into account and you understand that it was available in all these theaters and all these screens and all these times, it makes sense when you hear people say, my theater was empty or my theater was half full, because, well, obviously that still makes sense. It makes sense that it can make money and also still have half full screens, because if you saturate the market so much, not only with the most screens possible in the most areas possible, but then also if you raise the average ticket price of those screens up by a couple dollars, $2, $3, yeah, guess what you're going to have? You're going to have a pretty good weekend, pretty good run. And so when you take all these things into account, you understand and realize this is why the movie's doing so well. On top of the fact that, as I've said, the MCU was able to build this normie, this popcorn fan base that's devoid of and separate from the Marvel Comics fan base. So as a comics guy, you obviously said that you're not a Marvel Comics as much. You're more into DC Comics, Lethal. So from what you do know about the Marvel Comics situation, though, do you know any Marvel Comics fans, like people who still actually actively read the comics, pick up the trades every week, every month, whenever there's a new release? What their thoughts are on the the movie of Captain Marvel and just the MCU in general at this point?
Yeah. I know a few people actually. One guy in particular, he's a Marvel fan on the level I'm a DC fan, and he's I talked to him a fair bit, going, "What do you think of Infinity War and rah 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 rah, all that sort of stuff." But his thoughts on Captain Marvel was he he was crushed. He honestly was crushed. He was upset that they didn't go with the original Captain Marvel. That was what he was really hoping for. And, you know, this is a funny thing. You know, we got people like Brie Larson saying there's too many white people in these movies and all that. The very first time Captain Marvel was a female, she was black. And yet she still wants to jump up and play Carol Danvers. And Carol Danvers isn't a liked character. Like you said, she's been rebooted that many times. Rebooting a book, there's more to it than just starting again. That changes continuity. And from like a collector and a reader's perspective, that kind of throws a wrench into like the stories you're invested in and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to it than just starting again. And that's why whenever something's rebooted, it's always, oh shit, did you hear RRR's being rebooted? You know, it's a point of conversation. But whereas the MCU, like you said, is a bit more normie now. But I'd say it's more of a, it's essentially become a what if story or an alternate universe kind of thing where it's directly inspired by, but I wouldn't say it's an adaptation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and then going back to the whole...
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that, you know, with what you were saying about the comics, you know, that just proves even more so that Marvel didn't even think to ask or to care about what the fans wanted, because I've heard that as well, that like she wasn't even a popular character really compared to like other characters. There's other characters, like what other characters from the comics would you have preferred to have seen as just a movie in general? Because like I think anything would have been better bringing this out, because like no one asked for this. You know, at least I did.
Well, my dream would have been to have the Netflix crossover, because I love that Daredevil show.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I would have loved that. I would have loved that. But if you gave me one, and now, do you mean it has to be someone on, say, the scale of Captain Marvel?
Just like, or even maybe any other female character that would have been more popular than Captain Marvel, because she didn't, as you're saying, like she wasn't even all that popular. So like you wonder how they even thought this was a good idea. And apparently the Russo brothers didn't even want her, so that doesn't help much. Like,
they definitely didn't.
Much confidence.
I mean, it ruins their plans too. So I mean, and that's really what it comes down to, is that they had obviously a vision in mind, and then all of a sudden they're told, oh, by the way, 4 weeks before your movie comes out, we're releasing this brand new character to the MCU that's all powerful and almost as powerful as Superman. But in the end, actually, she has no weaknesses, at least at this point. So good luck with that. And so they've even gone on record trying to say, yeah, we had this OP character, and that's not good, and we know that's boring, so we had to find a creative way to fit her in. And so, as I said, in the Russos, we trust until we can't trust them anymore. I think that they probably are going to keep her, you know, I think they're going to obviously keep her strong because they're going to have to, but I think it's going to be tempered. I think that what we saw in Captain Marvel is going to be, we'll probably see like a 20th or a 100th of what we saw in Captain Marvel in Endgame, because the Russos know how to make a good story. And at least, again, fingers crossed, because they haven't let me down yet. No. Please don't let me down, Russos. I love you.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think it would have been better, instead of introducing a new character, a new female character, go with what you got. Build some of them up a little bit more. I mean, why the hell? How did she get a movie before Black Widow?
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, what would have been wrong with that? We could have done a Black Widow movie, because we already knew her character and grew to care about her character. But why should I care about Captain Marvel? Is there a reason I should care about her? You know what I mean? Like,
because women empowerment and white men are bad.
But no, I think that's a good point too, because it would have made more sense for MCU fans, because they've grown accustomed to her. They've, you know, liked her character. And let's just be fair. If I saw at the end of the day that the Avengers came together, the original Avengers came together, and it was possibly Black Widow or Nebula or someone else who's not known as being overpowered, who somehow is the one that like finished off Thanos or was like the last part of the piece, I would be okay with that. You know, as long as they wrote it creatively and it made sense, it's like, I have no problem with that. What I do have a problem with is a character that's being shoehorned in 4 weeks before your final, you know, final phase of your saga. Because remember, they've said this is the Infinity Saga, the first 3 phases. You know, you can't do that. Like, if you want to invite, seriously, what they could have done is they could have just been like, all right, so Russos, we need you to introduce her character. And I guarantee the Russos could have found a much better way to introduce her into the MCU. No, I would say in Endgame. They could have done it in Endgame.
Yeah,
If
true.
they had to bring in someone that was on the scale of Captain Marvel, I would have picked Adam Warlock. And I think MCU fans would have been a lot more happy with that. Would have been like, oh, cool, that's Adam Warlock. And Adam Warlock plays a big part in the Infinity storyline in the comics.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%, Lethal, because
So I think fans would have been much more happy with that.
I'm with you 100% because, like, he was only ever mentioned at the end of like a credits, and it was
Guardians 2. Yeah.
It wasn't Guardians 2. Volume 2, but he was only just mentioned in the credits, and I actually mentioned exactly what you were saying there in a video because I completely agree with you. He was so essential in the comics. So why did they not go with an Adam Warlock film?
Yeah, and I think there's
that would
actually
make more sense.
I think there's a couple of things too, because obviously we have to remember, and obviously I think that this isn't the total reason, because I think this issue had already popped up before. Or rather after they had made this decision, but I think the James Gunn situation where those tweets of his were uncovered and he was fired from Disney, obviously that affected the timeline for a Guardians 3, which I imagine is when they will probably release. I think that we're going to finally get Adam Warlock in Guardians 3. That would be, I think, the place for them to introduce that character. However, I don't know if that would have been able to come out, because here's the thing. How about, because I don't like movies being released this close to movies anyway, but imagine instead you have a Guardians 3 coming out 4 weeks before Endgame. You introduce Adam Warlock, and then in Endgame, guess what you do? You have Adam Warlock come in, but you don't have him be OP. You have him be a part of the team, have to like kind of earn his way there, just like anyone else. And then guess what you can do at the end of the movie, or at some point in the movie, you can bring in a Captain Marvel. You can bring in a Monica Rambeau. You can bring in these characters and introduce them in this big movie. And if you're so interested in them, because the Russos would probably be able to write them in brilliantly, guess what that does? It means, oh my God, I can't wait to see their solo film. I can't wait for Phase 4 to start. But now what they've done is they've
like Black Panther. Yeah,
exactly right. Black Panther, like, here's the thing, like Black Panther, that's what they did. They introduced him in another film, and then they gave him his own film, and they continued the story. Now, granted, I personally think the best version of Black Panther and Wakanda was in Infinity War, because I did not like Black Panther as a movie overall for a lot of different reasons. But his character's great. Chadwick Boseman's awesome. I love T'Challa's great. So here's the thing. I love the character. I think the character's great. The actor's great. All that stuff's great. It was the movie I didn't like. The Black Panther movie. That's why my favorite scene in Infinity War is everything that happens in Wakanda, because the Russos do Wakanda so much better than what they had done with it in the Black Panther movie. So T'Challa, to me, if you want to go in this whole like, oh, we're going to be progressive and we're going to say that we're being progressive, make T'Challa the new lead. Make him the new superpower. Make him the new person. It's like, at least he's earned it. At least he makes sense from a logical perspective. Carol Danvers, it's like, oh, here she is, everybody. She's OP. How is she OP? We're not going to really explain. Oh, how did the Cosmic Cube give her powers and not destroy her, even though she was just a human person? Who knows? Can I ask,
because I haven't seen the movie, right? The whole Tesseract thing, all I heard was like the whole Tesseract thing and the cat or something coughed it up, right? But like, what happened? Like, because obviously, like, how did that work? Is that what happened?
So yeah, basically, in the comics, and Lethal, please correct me if I'm wrong here. In the comics, the way that Carol Danvers gets her powers, because originally she was Miss Marvel, that's when she got her powers. Because originally Carol Danvers was actually a human, which was a regular person. And then basically what happens is that Mar-Vell, who originally was a man, in the movie they make her a woman for some reason.
I was so shocked at that.
God only knows why.
Don't they make her Rita?
Annette Bening.
What's the actress's name?
Annette Bening.
Oh, Annette Bening. Jeez.
Yep. What? Annette Bening is Mar-Vell.
I gotta go Cyclops Lethal for a bit.
So what they do is they make, Annette, they do a gender swap for Mar-Vell. They kill Mar-Vell too. In the original comic, Mar-Vell was not killed. Instead, what happened was there was an explosion that happened with Kree technology that led to essentially Carol Danvers and Mar-Vell's genes essentially like splicing together. And it's because of this human Kree hybrid that essentially she becomes from this explosion that she gains her powers. And so even though obviously this is a comic book and so it's fanciful, it's like that makes sense. But instead what they decide to do is, for some reason, they're like, oh, we have to bring the Tesseract back. We have to bring the Tesseract into this movie for some reason. And so what they end up doing is they end up saying Mar-Vell is trying to create light speed technology using this, this Infinity Stone, which they don't know is Infinity Stone yet, using the Cosmic Cube. And what ends up happening is that the engine explodes And so therefore it's Tesseract energy, and that's how she gets her powers. So something that has already been established in Captain America, the First Avenger, where the energy from the Tesseract destroys human people, kills them, vaporizes them. For some reason, when it comes to her, even though she was just a normal human person, gives her powers. And then the way they do the Kree thing is that later on, she's given a blood transfusion from Kree blood. I'm confused, which makes no sense either, because a human person should not be able to take the blood of an alien. Oh, but it's because of the Tesseract energy. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't work. I'm
so confused, Odin, because I think it was you, correct me if I'm wrong, that commented on my video. I did a video about Jude Law, right? Going like, Marvel, who are you? Because I thought Jude Law is one of my favorite actors, right? And I just assumed that Jude Law was going to be playing Marvel, because guess what? He's a man. So, you know what I mean? He was originally a man. So I thought that he was going to be playing him, and he was going to be giving this woman her powers. But oh no, some woman called Annette Bening turns up, and she, I don't know.
That's what happens. I get it. Yep, that's what happens. And it's just... Yeah, it's stupid.
Why make a man a female character?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like making Ariel a man, or making Jason Momoa out of Aquaman a woman. Yeah. Why? You don't need to.
Because we can. Because we can. Because the future is female. Because we're running out of original ideas, and so all we can do now is gender swap, and that's all we can do. We can't create characters. We can't create new characters. God forbid we can't create new characters. So let's just change the ones we have. It's the same reason why the Eternals movie has been talked about, and one of the characters is like, oh, it's going to be the first ever gay character. And it's like, I'm pretty sure none of the Eternals were gay in the comics. So basically they're, again, changing the story. Instead of creating a new character who's gay, which is like, no one's going to say... stop. Like, everyone's gonna say, hey, if you're gonna make a new character and they're gonna be well written and awesome and they happen to be gay, okay, sure, like that's fine. They're instead just changing things, and I think that's what's bothering people the most, is that instead of being creative, instead of creating something new, they're just saying, oh, we need everything now to fit our agenda, and so now we're just going to switch genders, switch races, etc. So, Lethal, you were about to say something.
Yeah, well, this just reminds me of like a argument I had with some SJW a while back. And the point I was trying to make is sexuality and gender is not character development. That's just who you are. I mean, like, if I asked you, okay, tell me about your character, and you said my character is gay. Tell me about your character. My character's gay. No, tell me about your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a fair point. Yeah.
Falling apart is character building is so important, so important. When I met Timothy Zahn, all hail Timothy Zahn, creator of the EU.
Yes.
One thing that I spoke about with him, I managed to have about a 10-minute conversation with him, and it was amazing. And one thing that he stressed was, you could have the best story, but if no one cares about your characters, it's pointless. It's pointless. So having good characters, in a lot of ways, is more important than the actual plot. I mean, before, hey, Viv was talking about Superman. Superman is overpowered as all hell. Like, it's very difficult to defeat Superman. But think of good Superman stories. It's the situation he's in. A lot of it is emotional, mental stuff, because you're not going to beat him physically. Well, sometimes you do. But it's always about the situation. But we care about that because we care about Superman. We care about Lois Lane. We care about Jimmy, you know. We care about all that stuff. And these are the people that are in danger. But when you get to something like Eternals, and we're just going to change their sexuality, these are fictional characters. Who cares who they are or aren't banging in a fictional world? If you're interested in that stuff, there's a website on the internet. There's many websites on the internet.
Tumblr.
Go for gold.
It's called Tumblr. Go ahead and get that story going on Tumblr, and everyone's going to love it, and everyone's going to like it. But yeah, absolutely. You know, like, don't change the entire story and say, oh, it's story building.
About, you know, yeah, it's not story building. You know, just write some disgusting erotic fan fiction. Yeah. But that is not plot. That is not world building.
It's so true, like what Lethal was saying. Like, I mean, for example, look at Ripley and Aliens, right? Back then, you didn't have to go, oh, this is a woman and she's playing a hero movie. She just friggin' well got on with it, and she was awesome. And no one, like, you just sat and you thought to yourself, she's awesome because she's awesome. She's a hero because I believe she's a hero, not because it's being sort of like thrown in your face. But I can guarantee you that they'll bring out movies from years ago, and if it's a woman playing it, they'll have a man playing it, and if it's a man playing it, they'll have a woman play it. There's going to probably be an Aquaman movie in 10 years' time, and it'll be a woman, even though it's Aquaman. You know what I mean? It's
Aquaman. It's man.
It's ma'am.
Ma'am, Aquaman. Have you heard that rap? Have you heard the rap? Serious? Have you heard the rap on Jeremy's channel?
Oh, the rap.
Yeah.
It's like some like
Yeah, ma'am's a rapper.
Oh, yes.
like-
Okay, yeah, I remember
from the
that.
game store or something like that.
Yeah, the original video I remember, and then they
Ma'am.
turned it into a rap. Yeah, I remember that. It's ma'am. Oh, so funny. But it's also so sad because that is also kind of like the future of where we're going to be going with characters. And if they continue to, instead of writing good characters, and as you said, lethal, you know, sexual orientation should not be an entire character description. Gender should not be an entire character description. Race should not be an entire character description. I say this all the time on my channel. If you, as even a person outside of comics, if you identify yourself and if you limit yourself to just one thing, you are shutting yourself off from everyone else. Like, think about the human person, the human life itself, as a giant puzzle. And if you choose one piece of that puzzle to show, you're leaving a whole lot left unseen. And that means that if someone does not connect with you on that one piece that you identify yourself with, that means that they are not like you. That means that, oh, we're separate, we're different, because these one pieces don't match up. We can't be, you know, we can't exist anymore. We can't even talk. We can't even communicate because, oh, you're a racist, you're a sexist because you don't have this one thing that I have, and you don't understand it because you don't have this piece. And it's like, if you're gonna live that life, if you're gonna live that way, good luck.
Yeah. Do you know what, Odin? That's so true. And do you know what? This might be kind of going off on a tangent, but last night, right, I noticed
I love
that
tangents.
Vivian, hey Viv, right? She had 7,000 subscribers, right? Exactly 7,000 subscribers. So I posted saying on Twitter, I'm so proud of her and everything, right? But then I noticed this morning she'd put up a video talking about Zack Snyder. And I kid you not, she had 7 less subscribers. So I can guarantee you, Odin, someone, like you said, has not agreed with her opinion, and they've went, I don't agree with her opinion. I'm going to unsubscribe to her channel. It is so pathetic that we live in a world like that. Do any of you actually get comments saying, I'm going to unsubscribe to you because you don't like Green Argent or you don't like it?
All the time. All the time. And
Yeah.
I don't believe them. I'm like, I doubt you're a subscriber, because if you're just now getting where I'm coming from, then you're probably not watching my videos in the first place. But also too, I think it just shows, you know, at the end of the day, if someone's going to unsub because of one video, then I don't need your sub in the first place. You know, it's just like,
It's so sad.
Soy boy.
See you later.
Na, na, na,
Yeah,
hey,
I get
hey,
a few like that, and I urge you out.
Cry
So
me
you
a
gotta act
river.
like that, man. You just,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, that's just sad. Like, oh wow, we've spoken about, I don't know, Star Wars for like 20 live streams and agreed on everything, and then I've said, oh, I think this book's better, and you've just had a skits attack.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got
Go on, get the
roasted
door,
yesterday.
you know?
I got roasted yesterday because I made a video defending what you had Jordan Peele say recently. So Jordan Peele, if you don't know, in an interview had mentioned saying that he couldn't see himself ever creating a character for a white actor, like as a lead character. Like he couldn't ever see that. And so of course people made videos trying to say, like, you know, if this had been from the other side, that there's a double standard. And I'm like, I agree there's a double standard, but I'm looking at his, you know, comments in isolation, and I'm looking at it saying, I think anyone should be able to do whatever they want. I think anyone should be able to say, oh yeah, I don't see myself, you know, directing a movie where I have this kind of a character in the lead role. I mean, I think that people should be able to cast whoever they want to. And I point out saying, I think that the thing that needs to be pointed out is that we don't need people forcing others to cast in a certain way. So for Jordan Peele, if that's what he wants to do, perfect. He can cast whoever he wants. He can write whatever stories he wants. He can do anything. As long as he's doing good stories, I'll go see them. If it's a bad story, I'm not going to go see it. But guess what? If anyone else does the same thing and they get attacked because there's not enough diversity, I'm still going to support them, because guess what? That should not be what it's about. I don't look at movies, for example, like when I look at Get Out or when I look at Us, I don't see this as, oh, this is that black movie. Oh, that's great. Oh, isn't that wonderful for that whole community? Isn't that wonderful for the entire black African-American community? I say, no, this looks like a pretty scary film that happens to have people of certain races represented. Like, you know, most people feel that way, but they don't understand it for some
It
reason.
just comes back to seeing people as people. You know, it goes beyond
Absolutely.
skin color and all that shit. Like, honestly,
Absolutely.
who cares?
Yep.
I mean, we're on a multinational stream. That's the whole point. To show we don't care.
We've got 3 time zones represented. We
Couldn't
have
give a
4
shit
time
what
zones
color
with
you
Hey
are.
Viv. So we are about as, you know, but people would still look at this stream and say, it's 3 white people. Oh, they must hate people.
Oh, it
different
is.
cultures. And it's just like,
Oh, we need a black guy. We need a black girl. We need a black lesbian girl.
no, we need a black guy who identifies as a lesbian girl, who then identifies as straight because of reasons. It gets complicated.
Gotta tick them boxes.
Gotta tick all the boxes.
Tick them boxes.
Everyone is
But
represented
now that
here.
does do my head in the way like people are like, that's a bit of a YouTuber rant, I guess. Is like you have that one soy boy that just completely flips out because they don't agree with what you're saying. I reckon my next video is going to cost me a few because it's about that. I don't know if you're too aware. There's a bit of a controversy around Mortal Kombat, and I don't think it's that big of a deal.
What happened?
So
What is that?
I think it's going to piss people off. Oh, the girls are wearing more clothes than normal. And some people are a bit freaked out by it, whereas I don't really give a shit as long as the gameplay is good. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with that one, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, as long as it's good, as you said, as long as it's good, as I'm unsubscribing, how dare you? Dude, I see the person that says that, and just because of the nature of my channel, you know, I can't say your name ever because of that. And
Oh my gosh, their name is like.
yes, it's so what an ass. That's what I'll call him.
Friendly. It's very family friendly.
It's very family friendly, very family friendly. And as a guy that's looking for jobs teaching, I couldn't say that name every day. And I could imagine walking to an interview, and then all of a sudden the first thing they show me is, yeah, what's this? What here? What's this right here? I wonder. Don't cyberbully me, please. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't cyberbully. I'm sorry. We're gonna move on from you. What N? And that's what I'll call you. What N?
Oh my god, I'm looking at that person's that YouTube banner. This is brilliant. I'm gonna subscribe to that person.
Boom. All right. Well, what N? You just got a subscriber.
Is the banner clean?
I'm gonna turn the bell on.
Oh, that's
But is it
great.
Sorry?
clean? Does it look like a clean family channel?
Family. I don't know. I'm not looking at it.
Depends how mature your family is.
But actually, it reminds me, speaking of cyberbullying, this actually reminds me, bringing back to Captain Marvel with Brie Larson. So we talked about this a little bit last night, actually, on a stream that I was on. And I don't know if you heard about this, but basically someone with about maybe 300 followers on Twitter had posted a reaction to the new upcoming Netflix original movie directed by Brie Larson. It's her directorial debut. And they had said that the trailer was kind of uninspired, that it just didn't seem right, and that they thought that, you know, maybe they should follow the footsteps of other people, other actors who've become directors who kind of, you know, Jonah Hill, for example, he studied under someone, like I think Scorsese actually, under him for a bit before taking on his first directorial debut. And so that's all he said. He said that, yeah, it just looks mad to me, and I think that instead of actors just being given opportunities to direct, that they should kind of earn their way into it, or, you know, at least have some practice. And so Netflix then retweets the guy and lists off like a list of, oh my gosh, like Brie Larson has won an Oscar, been nominated this many times, has this many writing credits, etc. Just all these things.
I'm sick of hearing that, Odin. I'm sick of hearing that.
As defending her, basically. And so they do that.
Not.
And of course, it's Netflix. It's the official Netflix account. And so what happens is that this guy with 300 followers starts getting like ambushed by people who are just like, oh, you hate her, therefore means you're sexist. And then Brie Larson retweets the tweet from Netflix, which gets retweeted thousands of times. And so basically this person was forced to lock their account and make it private because they were getting harassed. And so
let's face it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and so obviously some people might say they weren't trying to cause that, but you kind of know if you're retweeting somebody who made a critic, you know,
exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
You want someone to see it.
Yes.
If I retweet one of your tweets, right? You guys, right? I want them to see then your tweet or your video.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
To be fair, one thing that does my head in is Brie Larson never retweets my tweets. I've asked her out a few times. She's never gone back to me. So
I don't think you'd want to go out on a date with Brie Larson because she'd just be wanting you to pay.
Oh, that's where you're wrong. I have a unique superpower. I am able to turn women into women.
Apparently she likes girls now, so I don't know if she's ever
yeah, that's right.
Your offer.
That's right. Yeah, because that's the new storyline is apparently.
Yeah, that's the new news.
Yeah, there's a contingent of people, kind of similar to the Raylo, where there's just like a small contingent of people who really want to see a Valkyrie Captain Marvel romance. And both actresses
down with that.
And both actresses have said like that. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fine. And it's just like, this is pansexuality all over again.
Just looking at attention, I honestly think at this stage, she's just so desperate for attention. Yeah. I mean, like, why didn't she just let that movie speak for itself? And if it was rubbish, it was rubbish. And if it was good, it was good. All she done was moan and talk and talk and talk the whole way that for this movie gathering up. I can't remember Wonder Woman ever sitting down in an interview and going, oh, I had to train in the gym for 25 hours. No.
Gal Gadot. I love Gal Gadot. On my channel, we have this like running joke, Gal Goddess Gadot, and that's been since the beginning. Like if you go on my chat and type in the words goddess, it just like lists like, all like we worship Gal Gadot and all that. And
oh, that's great.
Wow.
Like I was saying before, if being like a DC fan my whole life, it's always been Batman and Wonder Woman. Ever since I was a little boy, it's always been Batman and Wonder Woman. And
I love Batman.
You know, I see all this bullshit, like all these people being like, oh, you know, she's so empowering, you know, rah, 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 and all this crap. And it's like, bitch, please, man. I've been worshipping Wonder Woman since I was a little boy, and I've never felt any less of a dude. If anything, it makes me feel more of a dude. Like, you know, get your facts right, people.
But that movie was amazing. Honestly, I was like, wow.
It was brilliant.
Wow. I'm trying to get my dad.
Do you want to know a fun fact about that movie?
Mm-hmm.
That movie boosted Wonder Woman sales. Captain Marvel, I mean, like comic books.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel sales are still... Dude, a Miss Marvel #1 came out about 2 weeks ago.
So no one's still interested, basically, in the comic world of her?
No, and that's why I think that Lethal was talking about that there's this difference. There's this divide between DC and Marvel because Marvel, the MCU, has now moved on from Marvel Comics, and so now they don't care, and the Marvel Comics industry is failing now because of that, you know, especially. And now with DC, on the other hand, you still see a very close connection between the comics and the movies. And so, as you saw with Wonder Woman, there was a boost. I imagine with Shazam, you're probably going to see a boost in the comics from that as well, because they're still trying to, they still know that they have to rely on those fans. They realize that they don't have, the DCU does not have an MCU contingency like, you know, the MCU does.
That's right.
The DCU is still building, you know, because unfortunately, and this is, you know, funny that someone had mentioned Zack Snyder causing, you know, that Hey Vivid did a video on him. If you bad talk Zack Snyder at all, there is a contingent, there is a hardcore fan base that like love and worship everything that he does. And if you say one bad thing, they are gone. They are out.
Bad, really? Like she wasn't saying like anything bad about him. Like people have obviously taken her out of context.
Even about his movies though, because obviously I wouldn't say anything bad about the guy himself, because I think it's terrible what's happened to him. I feel for the situation that he's gone through. Like, you know, when he lost, you know, when you lose a loved one that way, it's just like my heart goes out to him. But that doesn't mean that I have to like his movies. And it's funny because I made a video.
No, you don't have to like his movies.
It's so funny because within the span of 2 weeks, I did a video going after the DCEU and a video going after the MCU. And both times, both fandoms came out and hated it. And I got so many dislikes and so many comments like, oh my gosh, I'm unsubscribing now, And I'm like, okay, go ahead. Please, go ahead. If you can't take criticism, I mean, come on. But no, again, we see
Can you read that?
I can't because of the way my image is set up. Hey, again, you didn't reply again. I thought I'll ask again. I was working if you wanted to hang sometime.
No. It's a...
Sorry.
Brie Larson, hey again, you didn't reply. So I thought I'd ask again. I was wondering if you wanted to hang out sometime. Maybe get to know each other over a cup of coffee or something like that. Send.
Oh my God. I'm surprised.
It'd be so funny if you're a bride.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised I haven't been blocked yet by her, to be honest. And what's also funny is that remember that interview that she did?
Trying.
Remember that interview? I could tell. Remember that interview that she did where she was talking about the you know how every star at some point does the Google search of their name and they're you know seeing the top results, and the first thing she says is, well, I mean, I've never Googled myself, so like I just think that's a weird thing to do. And then I look at what she does on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah. And then you retweet somebody that defends you against someone who has 300 followers. Yeah, okay, yeah, you don't care about your ego at all. Sure, keep on with that narrative that you don't.
That was so cringe fest. Like everything she pulled off, she was like, duh, is that a personal attack?
That's
and
my
you're like,
favorite.
how is it a personal attack?
Yeah, she went.
Someone asked you to do something. What was it they asked her? They said, like,
Do you work out?
you work out? And she went, is that some kind of personal attack?
And I mean, that actually, it was, did you work out for the film?
They were at the.
Yeah.
How's that an attack?
No, she was at the gym and she lifted something. You know, she was down at the gym doing her thing, and this guy walks past and was like, "Shit, you know, that's cool. Like, that's pretty impressive." And she's like, "Why do you think because I'm a woman?" You know, that sort of route. And the dude was like, "I'm just saying, like, congrats."
It's like if you were a dude lifting.
Well, she gets out of the Jeep.
Yeah.
She can push a Jeep in neutral to empower women, but she can't push a smile to
Oh
her
my
face.
God, that video was so funny because everyone was acting like, oh, a real life superhero. And I'm like, she's pushing a car in neutral. The car's in neutral. And it's not even like uphill or anything.
It wasn't a hill. It wasn't. The road was like this. It wasn't like that. That's a hill. That's a road. She does, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a road. It was flat. It was so flat, and yet somehow we're supposed to be impressed by it. And I'm like, I can do that with a hurt leg. Does that make me a
child can do that.
superhero?
Like, it's ridiculous.
It's like, I know a lot of people who could do that who don't work out at all. Does that make them superheroes?
Yeah, I know. Can you put a car in neutral? Do you have legs?
No, what's best is that
We're
someone.
all superheroes. We're all Broom Boy. We all have the
Oh,
potential.
Broom Boy, that's right.
There's nothing special about it
Boy.
anymore.
Oh my God, but no, the best video that I saw was they put a video out of an old man who was pulling a larger vehicle by his teeth. And I was just like, yes. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, brilliant. You must send me that video.
I'll have to see if I can find it because it was posted on. This was a long, like this tweet happened a long, you know, long before Captain Marvel came out. Was the Jeep video that came out, and it was a comment under that. So I'll see if I can find it. But just look up people pulling cars, and you can find several women pulling cars, several men pulling cars. Doesn't matter. To pull a car neutral is not really all that much of a thing, you know.
No.
Like at least as when you're an adult, at the very least.
And that's all she talked about in all her like press interviews. Like more than you're talking about 5 or 6 I've seen, and she'll sit and go, yeah, like it was just to brag to Samuel L. Jackson, you know, I pushed a Jeep for 60 seconds up a hill, and it's so repetitive. She is so monotonous. It's like, we get the point. We're seeing the video. You don't need to talk about it in every single interview that you go on. We get it.
Especially now that there's that supercut video
She's like
comparing her to Alita's battle training. And you see
that
Rosa
is wicked.
Salazar like whooping ass
Legendary.
and like fighting and actually training for her scenes. And then it just goes over to Brie Larson and she's like doing push-ups. And it's just like, yep, Rosa's got you beat, girl.
And then you got bloody Gal Gadot Gadot, who was like Israeli and Special Forces full nutcase. She doesn't brag about it. It's just a fact.
Yep. And that's also why people
She
accepted
could
her
all want them
because
to fight each other.
yeah, because she not only did she just not really, you know, push any sort of agenda with the movie or with the interviews or anything, but also she's legit. She served in the military. Like she did, you know, she learned basic training and everything. She may not have been in, you know, in the front lines or fighting a battle or a war or anything, but she got that basic training. She has military training, and she served for 2 years in the Israeli military. And so you look to that, and then you look to people like Brie Larson who have been pampered their entire life, who were gifted a music
She was
career.
a pop singer.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't. It wasn't because of talent. It wasn't because of talent. Have you seen the music videos?
But you know what?
Oh, so many times. I've got folders of screenshots, which apparently I won't be able to use because of Article 13. So that's a shame. But
yeah.
But still,
yeah. Dan Baloney says, was it a 93-year-old guy who pulled the truck? I think so. It was an old person. It was hilarious though. It was just like, wow, this is perfect. Dan Baloney found the video. All right, Dan, share that with me on Twitter, and then I'll share it with everybody. But go ahead, Lethal, continue.
I think he's gone.
Oh, Lethal.
More coffee.
So Julie, since I have you here, when it comes to excitement for Endgame, do you think that the news coverage for and about and the protection of Captain Marvel has maybe affected your excitement level for Endgame? And, you know, were you excited beforehand? Are you less excited now? Are you still going to go see it? What are your thoughts, you know, with as far as comparing Captain Marvel, the coverage with Endgame?
Well, I was so excited, but I think just with the word Captain Marvel anywhere near it, regardless, it just kind of brings my excitement level from here to here. I mean, honestly, see, when I found out that Captain Marvel was coming out, I was really excited about it. And then when I seen the person that was playing her in the trailer, she just looked really like annoyed or something at Samuel L. Jackson. She just looked really depressed. And, you know, my boyfriend even said the same. He said, she looks like she doesn't even want to be in that trailer. She looks really bored. But the trailers do look good. I have to say, the trailers look great. But one thing I have to say is there has been more talk and more coverage about Captain Marvel than there has been Endgame. I haven't really heard that many people talking about Endgame. And that's because that movie coming out 4 weeks beforehand was a terrible idea. Why didn't they bring it out a year ago? Because, you know, you need a big gap. It's kind of like Star Wars. You know, it's just this whole thing over again. Like, they'll bring out a Star Wars movie and a year later they'll bring out another Star Wars movie. No, leave a good gap for people to build on the excitement. Or why not have left Endgame another 3 or 4 years? Mm-hmm. I'd have rather waited for that so that I could just blur my mind out of her before you know, I go and see it. And I really do hope that the Russo brothers are going to tone her way down, because if not, I don't think I'll reach to the end of the movie. But I'm going to go and see it because I want to support the other actual Avengers, you know, the real Avengers that started it all off.
Yeah, it's one of those tough things because you have some people.
Thanos like a Bane maneuver on her.
I want her to die in the opening credits, Lethal. I literally want them to throw her like Gamora and be like, bye peasants, and just throw her, and then her neck breaks, and then that's the opening credit, and I will cheer.
Such violence! Such violence!
No, that's the only way I will like her character in this movie. But she might surprise me.
Is if she's dead.
Gonna have to be a lot to surprise me. She is.
I love it. It's like, that's the only way I like her character, if she dies. God.
Let's see if she's replied to me.
But I think it is also, you know, it's reminiscent. It shows just, again, just how much people don't like her character. It's like, people can point to the number all they want. You know, people can point to, oh, yeah, she's made, you know, it's made $930 million or so. It's going to be $1 billion film and franchise. But that doesn't mean anything. At the end
honestly,
of the day,
to quote Mark Hamill, just because it makes money doesn't mean it's good.
Damn right.
Very true. I don't think it's true money, though, Odin. Honestly, that is my opinion. I think it's fixed. I really do. It's like singing programs, for example, right? I know I'm going off on a tangent again.
Oh, no, please go ahead, because this is where I actually have a disagreement with some people with this view, but please present your side.
No, seriously, right? I auditioned for a singing show called The X Factor in Ireland. And I did 2 auditions. One was with what looked like a 15 or 16-year-old, if even. Then my second audition was with another what looked like 16-year-old. Didn't even get to sing to Simon Cowell, Louis Walsh, or Sharon Osbourne or anyone. And I sat for 12 hours on the Friday, 12 hours on the Saturday. My mum and dad were told to wear the same clothes that they wore the day before, so it looked like I was only there one day. So things like that, and as well, I knew a girl that I used to sing with in school, and she was an X Factor. And she got to Sharon Osbourne's house, and she had to sign an agreement to state, I will only get to 10th place, and then I'm gone. But she was told, if she tells anyone that she will have to pay a fine, and she will be taken to court or whatever, right?
Oh my gosh.
She had to sign that. And I know her well. So the thing is, you know, you kind of wonder to yourself, all these people are picked from the beginning, who the winner of X Factor is. I just know. So you sort of say to yourself, there's all these things sort of because I'm sorry, I don't believe Captain Marvel made that amount of money. There's just no way. It might be. I'm not disagreeing, but all I'm saying is there may be a slight possibility that Disney maybe bought a lot and just kind of made it look as though it's doing well, because you look at how desperate they were to try and promote this movie. Go and see it. Go and see Captain Marvel. Why? If it's good, let it be good. Let it speak for itself. You don't need to put it everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I hear where. Sorry, Lethal. Go ahead and add in before I give my 2 cents.
One thing with Captain Marvel that I find fascinating is it's everywhere. There's a lot of merchandise. There's a lot of posters, billboards, and all that. There's a store here in Australia called Zing, and that's kind of like where you go to buy your your fandom stuff and all that. And I pop in very often just to look around and spend a bit of money and all that. And another channel that I'm friends with, he actually works there. I don't know if he wants me to tell people where he works, so I won't say who. And stock is the same all over Australia. Occasionally it's a little bit different and all that. And I sent a photo to him. I said, look, all this Captain Marvel stuff, this is about a week ago, all this Captain Marvel stuff is still here before the movie even came out, and nothing has sold. And I sent him the picture, and he said, it doesn't sell. It's not selling. He said, the closest we've come to selling some of this stock here is people have bumped the table. That's about it.
So it's like a Last Jedi.
He also sent me this. Oh, yeah, it's a lot like The Last Jedi. A lot like The Last Jedi. In that regard. Probably not that bad. Oh, Rose Tico. Where is Australian Rose Tico, by the way?
Aussie Rose Tico is right here. Hi, my name's Aussie Rose Tico.
Oh, yeah,
it's nice to meet you.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you. How's it going? I'm from Australia. This is how Australian people speak. She was replaced by Voltan, though, because Voltan has to keep an eye out on Kylo Ren. And, you know, because Kylo Ren's kind of been a little shady recently. You know, there's this whole Reylo thing. Is he the father? Is he not the father? Is he going to have a mask? Is he not going to have a mask? And so Voltan's got to make sure. And, of course, Voltan's just here because every now and then he's got to go, Gordon's alive! Because he's awesome.
Did you know that Captain Marvel, you know, the movie that was made to empower women, there is a Captain Marvel apron and oven mitt.
Oh, that's perfect.
Can I burn it?
I was going to say.
I think the idea is that, so, yeah.
What we need to do is we need to buy that in bulk. And then anytime there is someone who, like, tries to defend the movie, we find out if they have, like, a P.O. box. And then we just send it there and say, here you go. Have fun cooking. Just to trigger them. So they can be like, oh, my God, a toxic white male sent me an oven mitt. What is that trying to say? Is that saying I should be in the kitchen forever? Oh, my gosh, the patriarchy is holding me back. Oh, I would die for those reactions.
Women would take offense to that. They'd be like, what are you trying to say? That women should only be like 2 feet away from the oven or something in the kitchen sink? They'll take offense to that.
Let's say
I took a photo of it when I saw it as well.
Let me see. Captain Marvel oven.
I've got the picture here. I hate this Samsung update.
You'd wonder if they're going to sell, if they can't even sell figurines.
Oh, there's the oven mitt being sold by Walmart. Oh. Well. To be fair, there's also, if anyone freaked out about that, there's also a Captain America shield fabric mitt as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have a look at that bad boy. Oh, this is hard to use. Oven mitt and apron sold together.
Because that makes you feel empowered when you're cooking, I guess. Like that, like if I put that on, I would feel like, wow, I've did a massive task. I cooked chicken and chips. I'm so strong.
Higher, further, faster, baby.
Strong.
Higher, further, faster.
Higher, further, faster, baby. I am cooking up these eggs higher, further, and faster, baby.
You've got to see this.
Oh, I should make a video
My
doing that.
Rotten Tomatoes review.
By the way,
Marvel.
Julie, I must say, the Valley Girl voice that you do is perfection. Is absolute perfection. If you don't know what that is, the Valley Girl voice is the one that you do for Brie Larson. So basically, Valley Girl is just that typical, oh my gosh, like, it's
like
just so, like, really? Oh my God. You, Slay Queen, yes, not available. That's a great name, by the way, not available. Slay Queen, yes.
Like, why are you even talking like that? It's my movie, and I won, like, an Oscar for The Room, so get the heck out of here.
Actually, it was called just Room. I wish that I was never... I wish that the movie The Room was never made, because the way it treats women is so offensive. And
I get confused, all right?
Even though people would probably like me more if I had been in The Room instead of Room itself, I have this nice, shiny little Oscar here, and it means that I'm important, and it means that I am perfect. Even though the Oscars haven't meant a lot for a long time, it doesn't matter because I am special. And everything I say ends in a question mark.
Your dog's like, what are you doing? Why are you talking like that? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's Will. So Willow's voice is actually very similar. And unfortunately, Willow's voice has also popped up sometimes as my SJW voice. But Willow's voice is, hello, my name is Willow. I am a dog. Hi, my name is Willow. I am a couch dog. It is nice to meet you all. Hey, baby.
It's so funny, like your dogs are just always there. Like when you're talking in your videos, it would be weird if your dogs weren't there. I'd be like, where's your dogs?
Well, actually, because it's funny, because I sometimes get those comments, because I'll do videos and there'll be people saying, where are your dogs? I watch these for the dogs.
Yeah, like, I'm worried.
The dogs?
Are they okay?
Why are the dogs fighting in the background? I cannot survive without the dogs fighting in the background.
I know. It's like I've got used to watching it with the dogs, so it's quite kind of like a homely, cozy sort of vibe going on. You've inspired me. I'm going to start putting Charlie in more of my videos.
Oh, you need to. You need to. People love dogs.
He did a trailer reaction for not John Wick itself, but it was like a National Puppy Day, and Charlie was just like sitting watching.
That was so cool.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
He's so cute.
That's so cute. Charlie is an adorable pup.
I love him. He's so cute.
I'm still really excited for Endgame though. I'm still really
Let me get
looking
your
forward to it.
thoughts on Endgame. Yeah.
I thought Infinity War was grossly overrated. Not bad, but just insanely overrated. Not a bad movie, just way overrated. I think the MCU as a whole is not that good. It's the same movie pretty much every single time. But oh my god, Endgame looks amazing. Amazing. I loved that trailer. That trailer I watched on repeat multiple times. I loved it.
Is your bladder ready?
It was so good.
Is your bladder ready for 3 hours?
Bitch, I saw Lord of the Rings in the cinema.
Did you see the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings in cinema?
Oh gosh.
That's hardcore.
Oh my gosh.
That's hardcore.
Let me just say this. It wasn't in cinema. It was actually at it was at my old high school. We were in our auditorium, and we over the summer decided to do movie nights. And so we actually showed all extended versions of the movies. And so I've seen all of them, and oh my gosh, they're fantastic. But anyway, sorry. I'm so excited. When Endgame was announced as 3 hours, I'm like, this movie could be 3.5 hours, and I would be so excited for it. Because as I understand where you're coming from. There definitely is a monotony when it comes to the MCU films, especially as it went on as a series. And I definitely think that there are good and bad Marvel films. I loved Infinity War. I thought it was one of the strongest. It's not my favorite. Winter Soldier probably might be my favorite because I think it's the best made movie. I love that. Thor Ragnarok is hilarious, so I like that as kind of like the funniest one for me.
That is so funny.
It also has my son in it, so I kind of have to. It's kind of like I'm biased towards it.
You're biased.
I'm biased towards it, It's just like I can't help myself. But also, I will be honest, I think my favorite MCU character is Korg. I love Korg. Because it's played by Taika Waititi, and he's just like, oh, hi, how's it going? Oh, we got a new Doug.
I never saw Ragnarok.
You haven't seen it?
No, but I know all the spoilers.
Oh, okay, look.
I've seen any of the
you have to watch it. It's hilarious.
Even if you know the spoilers, still watch it, man, because Korg is fantastic. And oh my god, the whole thing was just like, oh, that's what Doug used to say.
What are you doing over there, mate? I can't do an Australian accent.
He's a New Zealander. You got to be careful. He's a New Zealander.
Oh
yeah, what the fuck?
That's very offensive to some people from Australia.
I've always wanted to go to Australia.
Not cool.
I've always wanted to go to Australia. My 3 dream places is New York. I'm obsessed with Friends. New York, Australia.
Oh, yeah, we saw the cup.
Yeah, Friends. Friends isn't a country. New York, Australia, and Canada. They're the 3 places I want to go.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Whereabouts in Australia?
Probably Sydney.
Do you know? Or just in
I
general?
might just go to Sydney.
Oh, boo.
Why?
Is that Western Australia?
Sydney's so
garbage.
bad.
Is that Western Australia?
Sydney's got. No, it's not Western Australia.
Okay.
It's,
because I have a subscriber, Mr. Peabody,
Victoria,
who wants to make clear that
Victoria's the garbage one.
There are separations, that Western Australia is not like the rest of Australia, and I love to hear him talk about it. It's great.
Yeah, we get into it a bit. I mean, like, my state has this really big rivalry with another state for absolutely no reason. It's like cats and dogs. We just hate each other for no reason whatsoever. We're just programmed to.
Same over here. It's bad.
Same in the U.S. as well. I mean, it's usually sports related, though. I'm sure it's the same in your countries as well, where there's also those sports rivalries as well.
Oh,
yeah.
We argue about where the state line is.
We claim this as our own. No, it's ours. No, it's ours. Civil War. But no, in all seriousness, to get back to and kind of wrap things up too, because we're almost close to time, and I know it's getting late where you are, Lethal. When it comes to everything that we talked about today, Article 13, Captain Marvel, censorship, YouTube, I really do think that these things are all connected, which is why I thought that it was actually appropriate to talk about them on the same day, because with Captain Marvel, you obviously saw censorship. Rotten Tomatoes deleted reviews, deleted ratings. You had YouTube change its algorithm to, not silence necessarily, but at least to make it harder for certain content creators to be seen. And we've seen it happen with the fact that view counts are down, sub counts are down, and it happened almost seemingly overnight. And so we know that there's some censorship going on. We've seen it happen now with the EU passing Article 13, Article 11, and everything else that they've done recently. And it is, I think, a very bad time for YouTubers, unfortunately, because, we're trying to get the word out there. We're trying to talk about these things. We're trying to be honest. And at the end of the day, we only have so much power. So all I can really say is, for any people that live in a country, in a state, in a nation where you have a voice, where you have the ability to, stand up for your own individual rights. This might seem like a small thing because it's YouTube, but this is something that can easily become a much bigger thing, can become a much bigger problem. You already see it happen with certain states and certain countries that don't allow certain speech, that penalize it, that, criminalize it, give you a fine, put you in jail for saying certain things a certain way. And it's not going to be long before eventually all speech is monitored by some, giant government agency. And you might think that's kind of conspiracy, but I'm sorry, you're seeing it right now with the EU. The fact that the EU has passed Article 13, which is going to severely limit people's freedom of speech and expression, you can already tell very, very much so that this is our future. So just as kind of a final thoughts, starting with you, Lethal, what are your thoughts about all of the things that we've talked about today, with, Captain Marvel, Article 13, censorship, and all of these things?
As human beings, we should have the right, regardless of where you're from, to say how you feel and what you think about anything. Everyone's got an opinion. Debating is healthy for the human race, whether you're debating about movies, comics, video games, political issues, whatever it may be. It is healthy. A one-minded view, we might as well just be robots.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as perfection. You can have a perfect system, but you need someone to say, well, maybe we could be better, and just raise an argument. We live in a soy-based world where people are just offended by someone not agreeing with you, and that's disgusting. Censorship is bad. It really, really is bad. Who is anyone to tell me what I can and can't watch? How dare someone say to anyone, you can't watch this? Yeah,
exactly. You pay
as far as it should go, is it should be like when you see a movie, it says this movie's rated R, it has sex scenes and violence. Okay, yeah, let me know that, but I should still have the right to decide if I want to see that. But I accept that there's sex and violence in this movie, so I'm going to watch it. I'm more likely to watch it, in all honesty, if it's like that. But you know what I mean? You shouldn't just be able to you shouldn't be able to restrict what people can't watch because you don't like it. That's appalling. I think that goes against being human. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the internet, it's a disgusting place, but there is a good side to it. You can just jump on and just say, this is how I feel, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and talk to people about that. I mean, I think this live stream is literal proof of that. You don't need anything else. So Article 13 can kiss my Australian ass. I have no respect for it whatsoever. There's nothing good about it. And this whole thing needs to be rethought. I want to recount and I want to re-vote. People weren't aware of what they were voting for. A lot of people were very they just didn't know what they were talking about with it. And we've seen it like Sweden gone, wait a minute, this isn't what we wanted. Even Google is saying that this is not good. I mean, nothing great about this, apart from the fact, like I said before, it's going to expose some shills, so that's going to make for some good videos.
Absolutely.
In regards to
go ahead.
In regards to Brie Larson, she can also kiss my Australian ass. Well, hopefully that's the plan, depending on how she replies. If she replies, I will not let this one go.
This is your last
Captain Marvel, which is...
Is this your last attempt? If she doesn't go on a date with you, then just cut ties?
Didn't anyone ever tell you persistence is the key?
Persistence is the key. Never give up.
Never surrender.
That's right.
So
Until
true.
I get a flat out no, then I'll leave her alone.
She hasn't said
Until
no.
then,
It's still not a no.
Slicer
Exactly.
Neons has it
I'm not
right.
hearing a no.
Restraining order inbound. Yes, indeed.
Oh. Did you guys hear that someone in an airport smiled at her like a guy?
Yeah.
And she said that that's unfair to females because like men shouldn't smile at her or something?
No, yeah, she said it's so hard to be a woman in America because someone smiled at her.
To live life as a woman is to live on the defense, because God forbid someone
Oh, that's what
smiles
she
at
said,
you.
yeah.
Especially if you're a Hollywood
God forbid
elitist
someone
getting,
smiles.
millions upon millions of dollars, getting a $5 million payday for a movie for your first Marvel film, which is as so much more than any other.
See, now I feel I personally know people that are very invested in the MCU, and this is bad for them. I don't like them. This is almost like their Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. No, and
Probably
the
not that
numbers
bad,
seem to
but still,
indicate
it's
that,
like,
because
well,
guess what? It also made, Last Jedi also made $1.3 billion. And what happened after that? Solo.
It's a lot of money.
Lost $200 million.
Definitely.
So you see
Glorious,
these things happen.
Solo.
You see now I think the MCU is going to have a little bit slower of a die off, because, as I said, the difference between I think the Marvel universe and the universe that's been set up by Disney as far as Star Wars is concerned is that Star Wars, they tried too quickly to turn on everybody. They tried too quickly to create a new fan base, and they did so by screwing over the old fan base. The MCU gave fed breadcrumbs, over 10 years to the Marvel Comics fans, to the point where they were able to build a coalition of fans where they don't need to have them anymore. They don't need to have.
And Lucasfilm was very more you're all misogynist, you're Russian bots, all that fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So that kind of did a number as well.
Yeah, and so you have all of these factors.
Endgame, I'm still very excited for Endgame. I loved that trailer. I mean, that was just brilliant. I get the impression from that trailer, it's like, do they even want to bring people back, or do they just want to go jump on Thanos' head for a while? Because it just looks so good, like that whole whatever it takes. Like, I just want to go to his door and just kick the crap out of him. They're not even trying to save people anymore. And I love that. I really do love that. Yes, I think that pretty much ticks all the boxes that we've spoken about tonight. And yeah, this is great. We should do this again.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the plan. So sometime in April, we'll figure out who wants to host the next one, which channel wants to host it, etc. And we'll get a date together that's gonna work for everybody. Because obviously, if you're just joining us, I see a bunch of people saying, "I just woke up. This is a nice surprise." So because of the fact that we have one guy that's 15 hours ahead, one that's 5 hours ahead, one that's an hour and a half. So all of us are on different time zones. So hey, Viv was with us earlier, and she had to go because she had work. But this is a lot of fun. And it's been great to be able to talk about these things. But before just getting into kind of like wrapping things up, Julie, any final thoughts about Article 13, Captain Marvel, censorship, and how these things are kind of correlated and connected together?
Well, like, seriously? No, I'm not going to do that. So, well, what I think is this whole Article 11, Article 13 thing, honestly, I don't know if I'm living in a parallel universe and there's another Julie somewhere and there's a normal world, but it just feels like, honestly, this society is like, it's like a snowflake. That's the best way to describe it. It's almost like we're going to be birds eventually in a cage. It's just like we can't even express ourselves. We can't have freedom of speech. And honestly, I believe, I know this is probably going off on another tangent, but I believe that, Lethal's getting excited. The way people go on and they do game reviews, like say they went on to do a game review of Mortal Kombat, right? Mm-hmm. Someone could go on and slate it down to the ground and say, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the story, I didn't like the costumes, or the girls weren't wearing enough clothes or whatever. So I think that it's just all these companies have seen this isn't good for us. Look at all these people saying about Captain Marvel. Look at about all these, even women. Even the likes of me and that Star Wars girl has been talking out about Brie Larson, and they're probably thinking, oh, that doesn't look good for the image, because we're wanting to have the image of, female empowerment. So I think what the problem is, they just want to have everything positive, and it's damaging. And as well, did you know that they're going to actually be, apparently, say, the like they used to put a link in one of your videos to an article, any article, or even if you show an article on your actual video, it can be the video or video description, you will be charged tax for using that link to that article. And I read up about this on various different articles last night and read all the same thing. People have said on YouTube videos as well, which is ridiculous because YouTube doesn't want to be hit with that tax. So they're going to just have you reliable. So you can't even post, say, a link to an article about Star Wars or Mark Hamill or whatever.
Yeah, they're very careful with the articles that you can list in general. And that was even beforehand. Yeah. So that's why, you always want to be careful in your descriptions.
I didn't even know that. I honestly, genuinely did not know that. So I'm glad that I kind of don't have links like that. I don't think anyways. I think the only link that I have is to like a guy that does, a friend of mine, Neil, he does like graphic design and stuff for some of my thumbnails and intros. So that's the only site that I have actually linked to in my video. So I think I'm okay there. But I wanted to just say something really quickly about Jude Law, because see, with the whole like press stuff with Captain Marvel, I think Jude Law is probably the most experienced actor that was in the movie. He's been in a ton of films and he has won an Oscar, yet you didn't hear anybody banging on about that, but you heard about her little tiny Oscar. She was on a lot of interviews and stuff. Obviously, I don't live in America, so I don't know how many interviews she was in, but I'm guessing a lot. But over here, he has been so absent. I mean, for example, there's a show over here that's on every Friday night, and me and my partner couldn't believe it that he wasn't on it. You call it Graham Norton, and he's an Irish TV show presenter, and it's ran through the BBC studios.
I like a bit of Graham Norton.
West London. And he actually is from London. He was born and bred in London. So would it not make sense for a London-born actor in a movie, a big movie, to promote it in London? You know, and no matter what movie he's in, whether it's Crimes of Grindelwald, whether it's anything, he's even been on that programme just for the sake of being on it, to sit and have a laugh on the couch and talk to the TV presenter. So even DC had Jason Momoa on a show, you know what I mean? So why did he come the whole way from America to promote, but yet they couldn't use Jude Law? I don't know how long he was in the movie, but it's irrelevant. He's a very good actor, and the way he is being treated, I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And I love Jude Law, and maybe I'm too much passionate about him, but I just think I saw an American press conference of him, I'm sorry, and 38 minutes it lasted, and not once did he get to speak. And Brie Larson and everybody, the whole cast talked, and he didn't get to say a word.
Yeah, and I think that really does speak
Great tangent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that all of us
had to get it off the chest.
Oh
guys.
no, trust me, that's fine. No, yeah, because all of us can connect to that. You know, to being passionate about certain actors and the way that they're treated, or seemingly the way that they're treated, and just how there's definitely this double standard when it comes to how certain people are treated. Lethal, looks like you wanted to say something about that. You got excited.
One last thing. Did you see that Mark Hamill tweet?
Yes.
Which one? About something being released.
What do we think?
Something being released today or something?
Yeah.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah. I've got a theory, but I'm probably wrong, but you go first.
I don't know, but I remember a good while ago, nearly a year ago, that apparently him and James Gunn had been having this conversation, and apparently he was going to go around to his house for a cup of tea or coffee.
Nice.
I think that it's going to be that he's supposed to be being in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But I could be totally wrong, and I could be talking nonsense. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see Brie Larson and James Gunn working together.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tweet right now, and it's definitely not Star Wars. I highly doubt it's Star Wars related. So yeah, that probably would make sense that it would be some kind of James Gunn. What do you think?
There's a Batman animated movie coming out, Batman Hush, and he might announce that he's voicing Joker again.
Oh,
that could be cool. That could be really cool, actually.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, if that is indeed the case. So it looks like that's going to be around 6 p.m. Pacific time, which would be about 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, which would be about, 9 p.m. Irish time, and God only knows Australian time. I've
God
got
only
At
knows.
15.5 hours.
like a 15.5, 14.5 hours, whatever. So yeah, when I was doing, oh my gosh, when I was doing the time zones, just for anyone that knows, in Australia, there is apparently a 30-minute difference time zone, which I didn't know existed. I thought it was all hours. And so Lethal told me this, and I'm like, wait a minute. So right now it's not 9:30. Like it's not on the 30 right now. It's not on the half hour. It's on the hour where he is at this point. So Lethal, what time is it exactly where you are?
2 to 1 a.m. Sunday morning.
So again, it is 58 where he is to 1
He's in the
a.m.
future. He's in the future.
Yes, he is in the future, and also
Yeah, I'm Mike Zero Sources.
yes, indeed, and it's also on the half hour.
Happens in Endgame before we see it.
Oh yes, for sure. But no, anyway, guys, for all the people watching, we still have 76 people watching, so thank you so much.
Wow.
You know, we were in the 90s for a good bit too. So
Oh, that is so cool.
yeah, so seriously, thank you all so much for joining us. I know for some of you, this was very early. Trust me, for me, it was also early as well. And we will, again, we'll figure out the time next time. But before I kind of give my closing remarks, I do have a super chat from Dr. Forbin/Colossus. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Says, Odin, recent arrival here. Nerdrotic sent me. Good luck to you and your search. Well, thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. Nerdrotic's awesome. Gary was able to get together Jeremy, EVS, and that Star Wars girl, Jessie Milestone, all together last night to come onto my channel. And it was like super chats galore, and the outpouring of support and love was amazing. So for everyone that's here that may have been a part of that, like seriously, thank you. It's been amazing to have this level of support from you guys. Because as you know, it's been a rough couple weeks, and to have you guys be that supportive has been awesome. And to know so many people who are supportive and just awesome. And seriously, I mean this. Lethal Lightning is a great guy. Go support his channel. I've been posting the links to his channel and throughout the stream.
Aww.
I'm gonna post it again. It's also in the description of this video too. And also go support Julie, because Julie is also a fantastic YouTuber. She is my Irish sister, and if that is not enough, I don't know what else would be. Charlie, you're gonna get more.
You can do a really good,
Yes, my dog.
basic bitch voice. Can you do it again, please?
The what? Sorry,
the Valley Girl
Australia, we
voice.
call it a basic
Yeah.
bitch.
I can't remember what one that was now because I kind of went off and did like a country type one. How does
Yeah.
it go again?
It's the Valley Girl. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Well, like, oh my gosh, Lethal, I like have to go soon because I have to go to my cheerleading group and win an Oscar because it's like so red over here. I can't even believe it. Like, I don't even
You gotta twirl your hair
know.
when you do
It's
it.
like-
Oh my god.
it's the afternoon over here, but like I have to go to like this field, this place, and you just like get your pom-poms and you just like start doing your little cheerleader stuff and everything. So it's like totally awesome. It's amazing. And like we dance to Britney Spears songs. And have you ever heard that song called Toxic? It's freaking rad. And we do it every day. We with our pom-poms, like it's so cool.
Toxic?
Why are you
Rad.
laughing
It's totally
at me,
about
guys?
the toxic
Asking me to do an
masculinity.
accent, and then you're like gonna laugh at me, like straight out laugh at me. That is like really condescending, and I don't like it. As a woman, I don't like it, guys. And I'm gonna go in another accent.
I'm about to say you're gonna go a country accent there.
laugh, like Shelly's mom in Big Bang Theory.
Oh god,
You know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Oh my Lanta, says Slicer Neat. Valley Girl equals talk like you only have half a brain cell. That's so true, Vipers. That's so true. Oh my god.
Like I don't have any brains anyway, so like whatever.
Oh my god. Well, anyway, as you can see, Julie is amazing. Lethal Lightning is amazing. Go support their channels. It's awesome that they were, me kind of in the craziness of life, kind of, in my mind, did this more last minute than I would have liked. And the fact that they were like, oh yeah, totally game. Just let me know at the time. We'll make it work. It was awesome. The fact that, Hey Viv, who was here earlier in the stream, said, I have work, but you know what? We'll make it work, and stayed like 10 minutes after she said she was going to. I mean, it's just awesome. So this entire community is fantastic. And this is something, again, we're going to try and do once a month. This is indeed the League of Nations. And the reason why it's called the League of Nations, if you haven't guessed so already, is because we have all different parts of the world represented in this community. So, Hey Viv is Brazilian. So we have, and actually someone had mentioned saying that we have like, 4 out of the 6 continents represented or something to that effect. And it's just like amazing when you think about it. Because, she, represents Brazil. I, of course, represent America. and then Julie from Ireland, and Lethal from the Down Under in Australia. And so it's just amazing that all of us, with 15 hours apart, 15 and a half hours apart, sorry, forgot about that half, 5 hours apart, you know, are able to come together at the same time, talking about this stuff, having similar perspectives, different perspectives on things is amazing. And I think it's something that is, you know, something that it could be really cool. And I can't wait to see what topics we talk about next month, because I'm sure it'll be, once again, another fun experience. So once again, Julie and Lethal, thank you for being a part of this. Because reasons, I saw your super chat. Fight the Man Odin says because reasons. Yes, absolutely. Every single day. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank everyone for watching. Have a wonderful day. I will post the links to their channels one more time. It is also still in the description of this video. Again, Lethal Lightning, Hey Viv, and Julie, who's known as Wished Upon a Vlog. So that's how you can find their channels. You're all amazing and beautiful people. I will be streaming in the next like 4 hours for my regular stream.
Wow.
It's gonna be a busy day for me. I have to record a video. I have to mow my lawn. I have to check the PO. But there's a lot of things I have to do today, because there's been a tree.
You must go, Odin. Mow the lawn.
I must go. I must go on to official things. I must go on to my government job. Thank you guys again for being here, and you two stay on the call, because, you know, I'll talk to y'all just for a little bit before I go for real. But for everyone else in the chat, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful, beautiful day, and as always, God bless.
God bless.